And do me a favor, open up the agenda that I sent out into this group chat. So just so you guys can kind of follow along for today. So I should say I sent it into the group chat earlier. It was the only document I sent. I'm going to send some other things into this chat here, but open up that agenda and I'll walk y'all real quickly. We'll do some quick opening comments. I'll talk to you guys just some quick opening comments. Go over expectations, kind of just responsibilities, sales performance, recruiting, managing coaching teams, all that good stuff. Take a quick break. We'll review some schedule and pay stuff. Instruction. So we're going to go over teaching you guys how to do a post interview, PDI and coaching, PR call and basics, and then we'll give you guys some assignments and we'll wrap up for the evening. So I will tell you all this. It is going to be a jam-packed 2 hours. So if you're, I know it's in the evening. I don't typically like running too many things this calls, but I've been jam-packed all day with district manager cap sessions. So if you need some coffee or whatever, some late night juice, you might want to take it. And this is gonna be a jam-packed little event here. I think you guys you want to make sure you're taking a lot of notes. And I'm really happy to answer any questions that you all have as well. So first things first, I know I haven't given everyone their roles specifically yet, or what departments you're going to be into or your titles. So I'm going to give those after this meeting or tomorrow. I'm not going to say, I won't say them all in the meeting because I want to talk to you guys one-on-one about them a little bit more versus like saying it passively on the call. And then some people maybe being confused or being like, I don't know what this means. So I can just like maybe send you an audio tomorrow while we're at the fall kickoff here and give you a little bit more direction. We can have exchange back and forth. We'll also set up some one-on-one calls with you guys this week before I go on a vacation here. So with that said, I do want to just start off by saying I wasn't there when they announced it yesterday. But congratulations to all of you all for being accepted. I'm super excited to work with you all, whether you're an AMI, part-time AM, full-time AM, whatever. I'm excited to have you guys as part of this group. And I know I think almost all of y'all are in our TLA. So that does go hand in hand, but it is something separate. You know, you can be a part of TLA and not necessarily be a part of the staff. You can be a part of the staff and not necessarily be in TLA. But I do want to give you guys I'm excited to be able to connect with y'all, to be able to work with y'all, and to get some time. So let's start off with this. This is how we kick off pretty much every staff meeting ever. We'll do a quick round of what's hot and what you appreciate. So keep it like 10 seconds, I don't know, maybe like 30 seconds or less. But what's hot would be something that's going on that's hot, and typically we try to keep it to what's hot should be something in the business, something in Cutco related usually that's going on that's good or that's hot. Occasionally it's okay to share a life update if it's really important to you, but ideally something that's hot in the business and what you appreciate, and that could be really anything. Adrian?
Yeah. Oh, I was just going first. I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're just so eager to raise your hand. I thought you were going to say something too. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So Adrian will take us off. Let's go.
All right, what's hot? I got two what's hot. One's business. One's not business, but business. Fall staff. That's obvious. Love to see the new faces here. Coming in hot, ready to learn, ready to be some staffers here, ready to grow. What's also hot? NBA playoffs. It's my favorite time of the year. Two pretty good games. And
time of the year, although it's not usually this time of the year.
yeah, exactly. But favorite time of the year nonetheless. So okay, cool. What I appreciate NBA playoffs, and I appreciate you guys being here.
Nice. All right, let's go to who's next? Tyler, tell me you're on the left hand of my side of the screen, so you're next.
All right, what's hot is we all like got into TLA. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's in TLA. I don't know, but I mean, I know a lot of me and like the people I was hoping to get into TLA got into TLA, so that's cool. Like Nick and Juliana, like especially because they're like my buddies. But also another thing that's hot because he said it. What's hot is Juliana's coming to Maine, so that's gonna be cool. Yeah, that's exciting. We're gonna jump some cliffs. And Yeah, and then what I appreciate is just everybody's like support overall, and then like the opportunity that you guys are giving us as well. Like I appreciate the opportunities. Like I messaged Mike Abramowitz too and said I was thankful for the opportunity. I'm just like really thankful to everybody. So.
Awesome. Let's go to Isa, and then we'll go to Yandri.
All right. So what's hot is getting into TLA and on fall staff. And then something I appreciate is finally like setting up all my classes for the fall semester. Cause like I did that super last minute, so it's pretty good.
Cool. Are they all virtual?
Yeah, so I'm staying in Miami for the first semester and then I'm flying out to Boston, so everything's virtual.
Cool. Now, are they virtual at set in stone times? Or are they virtual and flexible times?
So all of them have like a set time and then some might be switching. So it depends like what they do up in Boston right now. Cause like I think now the first 2 weeks they're doing online. So we'll see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing is if you guys do have any class schedules and you want to run them like by us or me, do that. I can give you guys some. Number one, if you just want some like, hey, college student like class scheduling advice, I can help you out with that. But also like in terms of work and how to kind of set it up the best way too. If you just have like online flexible classes, you just have to do like the work and watch the videos and stuff like that too, or watch the seminars anytime. It doesn't really make a difference. But if you have like set in stone times, run it by me. I'll give you some thoughts. So cool. Was that, and you said what you appreciate too, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Let's go to Yandri and let's go to Justice.
All right, perfect. So what's hot? The new faces. Definitely seeing new faces here. That's hot. And what do I appreciate? Appreciate all of you and all of you being here.
All right, awesome. Let's go to Joseph and let's go to Susan.
So what's hot is that we're all trying to finish like the summer strong, before classes and everything gets a little bit more busy. And I really appreciate getting into TLA and fall staff and just having the team that we have.
Nice. Did you start classes today?
No, it's the last week.
Next Monday?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, let's go to Susan and we'll go to Anthony.
What's hot is being here in the fall staff, and then what I appreciate is actually like all the tips and opportunities that I'm about to get right now, which I'm really looking forward to. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go to Anthony and we'll go to Juliana.
What's hot is being able to join TLA and fall staff. I know a lot of people said that, but I really am appreciative about that. And outside of Cutco, I start school in a week, going into my senior year in high school, so I'm excited for that. And what I appreciate is just all the support here at Cutco and pushing me to do more and more all the time.
Awesome. Let's go to Juliana and we'll go to Nicole.
Awesome. So what's hot is that I actually got to reach out to Mila. And I got to ask her for some tips on stuff because I know that she had talked about saying thank you notes to some people because I got into TLA. So I was able to get, a lot of, resources from her. And I really appreciate that she was just, a call away, a little text away. And then what I really do appreciate is just, being able to like express myself in like a team and being able to, bounce ideas with other people and just, create magic.
Awesome. Let's go to Nicole and we'll go to Nick.
Okay, so what's hot is that like being accepted into TLA and fall staff, and also school starting next week. And then something I appreciate is all the support that I get from you guys.
Awesome. Let's go to Nick. Christina?
I guess what I'm hearing is I'm the only one that starts classes tomorrow, which really sucks for me. But, whatever. What's hot? Yeah, we got into TLA, like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. We're all fall staff. Hell yeah. Also, I just got confirmation from an earlier meeting today that my band will be rehearsing starting Wednesday, which is awesome.
Get back to that stack.
Yeah, thank you. And what else is hot? I got through Cutco, one of my people just reached out to me and told me that they want me to start working for their dermatologist office in sales. And I was like, holy shit, Cutco actually works. You know what I'm saying?
You're like, wow, yeah. Who else has got a job offer since you started the job a couple months ago? Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, what we
It works. All right, let's go to Christina, and then we'll go to Andrew, and we'll wrap up with Jonathan.
Okay, so what's hot is obviously being in the fall staff with you guys is really exciting. I was actually really excited for this. I told all my friends. And then also, I passed all my Cambridge exams. I found out the other day, so it's really awesome.
Nice.
And honestly, like I really appreciate working in an atmosphere like this with everybody because everyone here, like they push really hard and like it makes me want to push harder. So yeah.
Awesome. Let's go to Andrew and we'll wrap up with Jonathan.
So what's hot is being accepted into TLA and also being on fall staff. And also I got a new PR today. And then what I appreciate is all the help and support we all get in this group.
Awesome. Let's Jonathan, take us home, man. What's hot what you appreciate?
Yeah, 100%. What's hot? I think that I don't know, Mr. Owen, you could probably let me know, but I think that this is probably like the most studied assistant manager class that we've had.
I'd say it has the potential to be, yeah.
Yeah, like it really does. It really does. And I mean, yeah, it's still gonna be fun. Like it's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited for it. What do I appreciate? I appreciate everybody who's on this call right now, who made it on and decided to be dedicated for the fall. And you know, we're fall and spring prepares us for summer, and I'm just excited for like where we're gonna go. It's about to be insane. So
awesome. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send you guys the Pages version of this. So one thing, here's a quick note-taking tip. You could copy and paste this into your notes, or I'm gonna go ahead and let me see if I can. Florida Coast AM meeting. File save. Does everyone have, who raise your hand if you have a Mac? Yes, most people. So let me go ahead and send this in to you guys. 3, 2, let's see, Pages.
Am I the only one without a Mac? Rip Anthony.
Because you're weird, dude. That's just it.
you got enough money now. Go get a Mac.
I told me yesterday.
I don't want a Mac. That's the problem.
Adrian, I don't know what you mean by the next 3. Yeah, you're good, Adrian. All right, let me go ahead and do this one more time. All right, I'm going to send it as a Word document for Anthony. Everyone else can have them mapped up. So anyways, if you take out the edited version, because I sent you guys the PDF first, you could take notes on the actual document itself, or we can walk through it. Whatever's easier for you. But nonetheless, we'll go ahead and dive right in here real quickly. So let's start off with this. Number one, I want to say just how excited I am. I want to share with you guys a little bit of my vision for this upcoming fall. And this meeting is our first staff meeting and our first onboarding meeting. So typically I'll have, you'll get a chance to see your first official staff meeting will probably be, actually next week will still be kind of a part 2 of onboarding, but you'll get in the flow of what a real staff meeting looks like. This is really me. So just trying to help support you all and getting you ready to be able to participate in the staff meetings. And if you were just coming in like in the middle of summer, you would be less involved and more so just like watching everything unfold and happen in front of you. But there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. And I'm excited for this group just because this is going to set you guys up. This call is our onboarding call. So we're going to go over, like I said, opening comments, expectations. We're going to help teach you some of the basic fundamental skill sets that I want you to start learning. And then we'll have some like assignments and follow-ups and things like that too here. But I'll start off with some vision. And I think like to Jonathan's point, I would not say that this is the most like, this is not the best staff that we've ever had before because the staff hasn't done anything yet. But it certainly has the potential to be one of the best staffs we've ever had. You know, and I want to say that to encourage and inspire you and also to challenge you a little bit. Just because you have talent, just because you've done stuff in the past leading up to this point, doesn't mean we're necessarily going to have great results. You know, that's one thing always. And anytime you're in a performance-based business, sales, just because you had a good year last year doesn't mean you're going to grow this year. In fact, it doesn't even mean you're going to do as much as you did last year again this year. Some of y'all have experienced that during the push. Just because you had a 10K push the first time doesn't mean you're going to have another one the second time. Like you still have to show up. You know, you still have to execute. So I think it's like, hey, avoid hubris just because you got to here and got accepted. Like, cool, now you're a part of the assistant manager team. Now you're a part of our leadership team. And there's going to be new responsibilities and new opportunities to step up here. So that's the first step. And the second thing is like, hell yeah, I do think we have the potential to be I think this is one of the potential to be one of the best staffs that I've ever worked with in my career. I think we have the potential to have the best fall that I've ever seen. Actually, I'll just tell you guys this. I think we have a potential to have not only one of the best falls in Florida Coast history and Metro Miami history, but in company history, period. I think not only just us as an office, but the climate of how things have changed with the virtual business. You know, it's going to give us we are going to meet my office and Mike Abramowitz's Tampa's office were the top 2 offices in the fall last year. We were led by Adrian. Adrian was really running our office last fall. And top 2 offices in the company, and we're planning on doubling and tripling what we did last year to elevate. And I truly think we can have what's going to be an exciting fall. Why this fall matters is because and yes, having an awesome experience this fall, but what it really does is it sets you guys up for an awesome experience next summer. And one of the values of being on staff, like the first thing I told you guys in our staff candidates meeting was I said, hey, there's a specific couple of reasons why you want to be on staff. If you are excited about training at the highest level, if you were excited about getting circles of influence, if you're excited about getting more access to me and Adrian and Jonathan, getting more coaching and mentorship, if you're excited about training now so you can have an even bigger and better opportunity for yourself for next summer, you want to be on staff this fall. Like that's the number one reason and the number one value that I think you get at being on a staff in the fall. If you want to be able to make a lot of money during the summertime, whether that's as a branch manager or even an assistant manager, really. But I think fall is the ultimate, like, in my opinion, it's very, like, someone can totally go from one summer as a sales rep to the next summer as a branch manager. We have people do that every single year that absolutely crush it. Mason Linker was top 10 branches in the company his first summer, one summer the next. Eric Palacio, top 10 branches in the company, sold one summer, branch the next summer. But all of them had management experience in the fall. All of them were part of a staff in the fall. Like all of them had some sort of experience and practice going into the summer. It wasn't like they were just thrown into the ringer there. So I think it's really valuable high-level training. It gives you access to closer circles of influence. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, hey, look, like, to be honest, like you can make pretty good money being on staff in the fall and spring. But really you do it so you can make a lot more money during the summertime. If your number one goal is to make a lot of money, and if that is, talk to me. I don't think it is because it's not, I already expressed some in previous calls, but if your number one goal is just make a ton of money, then you should just go sell, because you could probably make a lot more money if that's 100% of your time just doing that versus like having distracted with other stuff in the office. But if your goal is to train, if your goal is to develop your circles of influence, if your goal is to open up more opportunities, this is like when you combine this with TLA, this is what helps you become a top ranked candidate. Just because you're in TLA doesn't mean much, but when you're in TLA and other people are getting some experience, but you're like really getting experience, it just, you emerge more as a front runner candidate, not just as someone that's in TLA, but someone that's like a serious candidate for future opportunities. And you guys get a chance to get on my radar. Y'all saw how many people are in, I think we have about 60 people in the division. In TLA, and not all those will go into advancement roles and positions, and probably 15 to 20 of those are returning branch managers or assistant managers or district managers. So from the people that are there, it's going to be competitive, but like y'all have to realize, like, I don't talk to all 60 people across the division. In fact, there's like about 30 people that didn't that are potential late acceptances, so they weren't accepted into TLA on this round, but they could potentially be accepted in the future. My point being, there's like 10 of y'all on this call. So you're getting a lot more up and close with me, myself, not to mention our other branch and district managers too. So I think that's going to be a perk in itself. And I have here in my notes, Metro Miami, Doral Power. Kind of cool in this meeting because this is the first time, and we kind of got a chance to combine for the Alliance, but soon we'll actually be kind of one office, which will be exciting when, we've been operating as two different powerhouse offices, one of the top branch offices in the country, one of the top pilot offices in the country. And when you combine both of those forces, it's a formula for a pretty powerhouse packed fall. So I'm excited for that opportunity. I'm excited to see the design. I'm excited to see y'all work together even more closely. I'm really, really excited for this group to be the most powerful, class of branch managers in 2021 and beyond. That's really my objective is anyone that I'm working with in the staff in a fall capacity. The reality is the reason I work with our staff in the fall, like in the fall and spring, I'm a lot more hands-off in the pilot office. Adrian really has done a good job of just kind of, like I said, last year, he ran the office, everything in the fall. Like you guys see me a lot more in the summer. I don't even really, here's another just context for y'all. Like sales reps don't really see me during the fall and spring. Y'all will, because you're now a part of the management staff. But like sales representatives, don't. I mean, even Susan could probably touch that one. I probably came to the office like twice in the spring when she had started. And it wasn't. I'm not that involved as you all see me in the summer. But the reason I really get involved with our staff is not because of our results that we're going to experience this fall, but it's the results that I want you all to be able to experience in the summer of 2021 and beyond. Whether that is a branch or assistant or whatever that looks like, it's this fall for me is setting you up and helping you grow and develop so you can become even more badass leader for future years. So you get the Leadership Academy, and this is your playground. This is your practice ground. This is your opportunity and your vehicle to take what you've learned over here conceptually and actually take it and put it into practice and get a chance to, and that's what we always talk about, like, hey, experience versus like knowledge, skills versus, just thoughts. And that's the opportunity that you guys have here being on staff. I think like I can show you guys the photos of my, my previous staffs. I can show you all like even last summer, every single person that was on staff, Alyssa, Julia, not Julia, but Alyssa, Nicole, Jonathan Castell. Some of my best people that I've worked with have been people that have worked on our fall staff. So I'm excited for that. And I think you guys are excited too. I think we have a chance to build something really special. I think we have a chance to really work with like the virtual dynamic. We have a chance to sell more than we've ever sold before. And what I mean by that is this: we work with a lot more college students in the fall and spring. One of our best colleges, for instance, is University of Miami, in the area. Typically, like we don't even, in previous fall and springs, we haven't even really, like summer, we don't recruit that. We did have kids, but like not that many because most of them don't even live here during the summertime. During the fall and spring, it's cool because it's more of a market. There's way more students on campus. And like when our office was in Doral and that was in Coral Gables, it was just kind of hard to recruit people when they have to drive 40 minutes to the office just to interview, then train. Most of them don't even have a car. All of them are doing appointments with people back in another city. It just was a different dynamic versus now it's a very much more appealing, I think, job to a lot of like college students, especially when they're not from Miami, where like, hey, I can interview from my dorm room. I can work from my dorm room. I can do appointments with people back in my home area. I can, have a flexible schedule around my classes. Like there is a really, really big opportunity, in my opinion, I think, for this. I also think there's a big opportunity just because more students, because of the virtual nature of classes, because of the fact that like a lot of things are not operating like normal. Greek life, is usually a big sucker of most people's times, as it was mine when I was in college. Just lots of different student activities and involvement. And it's unfortunate. And I feel for all the students because like, if I was there, I'd be like, this sucks. And what that means is that people are going to have more free time than ever before. Virtual classes are usually easier than in-person classes. They usually have less work than in-person classes, and you don't have to drive out to the school. So people are going to have more time, and they're like, more people are going to be looking for work during the fall than typical, and more people are going to be looking for jobs during a time period where there are less jobs than ever before for students, so I think there's like a lot of different elements that are really working in our favor to give us the opportunity to have a pretty exciting fall. And the last thing I'll just share with you guys is like, hey, this is training. This is practice. Okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to know anything. It's okay to mess stuff up. And that is why you do this in the fall. I mean, heck, like the other reason I'll tell you guys is like, guess what? You future branch managers out there, you get to train on my dollar. You make a mistake, guess what? Doesn't cost you anything. It does cost me money, but it doesn't cost you any money. When you're a branch office running your own office, like you make a mistake, it will cost you money. Like it is your business, your organization. Like that one, it hurts more. When it's here, it's like, I'm not going to get mad at you, but it's not a big deal. It's like, hey, it was a learning mistake and it didn't cost you anything, and you don't have to really deal with all the consequences as much. So it's a chance, it's a learning ground. It's the playground for you all to experience, make some mistakes, grow a lot personally, and hopefully make some good money throughout the fall here while you're doing it. Questions, comments on that? Anything else to add from Adrian and Jonathan?
I mean, I guess just chiming in. I mean, you hit all the points that I would have added, but I guess some personal experiences. Like my first fall this is like where I really got the experience on not just like being the assistant manager, but really running the entire office. Like I essentially took my fall when I was running my fall semester, or not fall semester, but the fall office. It was like my branch. You know, I ran everything with training, recruiting, and everything in between. So that's not specifically like the exact things that you guys can get, but that's the exact way you guys want to treat it. It's like, hey, if I'm really serious about being a branch the following summer, or if I'm like thinking about it and it kind of scares me right now because I don't know what it takes to do that, then this is like your opportunity to really put those pieces together and really, again, train on Andrew's dollar. So one thing I definitely took advantage of a whole lot.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into some expectations. So you guys have made it at this point. You've been accepted to our staff. By the way, so I had you guys take those personality tests. Did y'all, I don't know, did anyone like find anything interesting on it or something like that too? I know I didn't really explain any of them to you all, but nonetheless, so yeah, you can share if you want to. Anthony, Nick.
Anthony, you go first.
Oh, well, what's it called? I really appreciate, like, because you really don't stop to think about who you are, how you act, and what affects you the most until a test really tells you. And I mean, honestly, that guy that was telling me my result for the 5 minutes, I swear he looked into my soul and he told me exactly who I was without knowing who.
What guy? What are you talking about?
In the last thing, there's the 15-minute one. There's a video at the very end when you're done taking the test. It's like 5 minutes.
CVI?
Yeah, CVI. So the guy in like 5 minutes says exactly who you are. I'm a banker merchant or something like that. So he explained that to me and he just said everything. My mom was next to me and she started cracking up because of all the accurate statements that he was saying. I just thought that was so cool. If you really think about who I was.
You said you're a banker merchant?
Banker merchant, something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Let me see what you are. I have them right here, Anthony.
I got merchant too.
You're a banker merchant. Huh.
Banker merchant.
And Nick,
I'm a mix.
Nick, what were you gonna chime in?
Yeah, I got merchant innovator, and I was like, innovator? I have never had that word describe me, so I was like really confused. And I was like, okay. And then I found out like one of my favorite qualities, I think, is like quality time. And I was like, you know, I've never stopped to think like what I really do value, and I was just doing the questions rapid fire because the way I take quick tests like that is I do whatever comes to mind first. That's the first one I choose because that's usually how it goes. So I was really interested to find out what my results were, and I was like, holy crap, these are very spot on, and I kind of feel creeped how good it is. But
yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, like I was so like blown away by the CVI test. Like that was so, I got merchant innovator too, but like in quality time as well. So I think Nick, we're like, I don't know, like twin flames or something. But no,
I'm better.
No, but seriously, like it was so accurate. Like it made me.
Tyler lost you.
It made me realize things that I knew about myself, but like I didn't really think about it like consciously. You know, like it was cool. It was really cool.
Awesome. I can actually pull up. Anyone else had any thoughts on the
I'm kind of curious who else got merchant innovator like us. Anybody else?
Got merchant innovator and quality time as both of you.
Oh.
Them.
All right, hold up. Let me how do I block this? Hold on, I'm gonna try to show you guys the visual here. Actually, I can just post it. You guys want to see it? You want me to just post everyone's? I'll post these ones real quickly. This would be good for y'all to see. So I think you guys had you take love languages, your expectations and tendencies, and then this one. So if you guys pull up that photo that I just sent into the group chat. So, and you guys can look up, I encourage you, we're not going to dive into too much of it on today's call, but this is like good stuff to know. So like love languages is good for me and for your peers to know, because like that is how, and some of you got only, I think, with the first one or something. So maybe I could use your second one here. But that's how like you, like just how you feel and receive and appreciate love. Like some people really feel good when you give them gifts. you know, and that's how they feel appreciated. And other people, like, you give them a gift and they're like, thanks. You know, they don't really care at all. They're like, you know, whatever. Other people, like, all you really need to do is just like hang around them. They just want to hang. That's just how they feel appreciated, feel loved. They just want to hang out with you, you know. But like other people, like, they're like, that's great, and like, you didn't tell me I look nice today. You know, like, it's like you need it. Like, they're like, they need to hear words of affirmation and things like that too. So quality time, that's that one. Words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts. Yeah, you guys are a lot of like quality time. So we'll have to have some like some fun Zoom Skype call or something like that too, or hopefully we'll be able to meet up in person at one point. For tendencies, this is how you handle inner expectations and outer expectations, which is good for me to see. You can look into that one a lot more. And this is more of like the actual like personality test, which the best way to describe these would be like, let me actually pull up. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so look, builders are like, let me give you guys an example. The first one is your major one. The second one's like your minor one. Some of you all are more like a square too, you know, where it's like you kind of lean towards two, but the other two are a little bit smaller. And then other y'alls were like so far on one that like, and barely any of the others. And like the second one barely made it off. So it kind of depends, but I'll give you guys a quick rundown here so you have a better idea. Cool. Builders are typically, they're short, to the point, usually like not a lot of talk, not a lot of fluff, like get shit done mentality, usually very, very competitive. There's not usually a lot of like, it's just like get shit done, you know, builders. Merchants are very feeling oriented. So they're all like the feel good people, you know, all about, it's like the core value is love and working with other people, and just like they like feeling good and being around people that feel good, and like that's everything's through like feelings. Innovators are like usually flexible, creative. They usually work best when you like ask them a lot of questions, and they're like get a chance to like think and ask themselves questions. Is usually like innovators. Y'all are usually like the best and the worst sales reps, because you're usually good because you think well, and you're also usually bad because you guys are usually the ones that like take what works and then like try to innovate it, and then you do shit that doesn't work. You're all the ones that follow the manual for like 3 weeks and crush it, and then like start changing the manual and then don't know why you're not selling. But they're also usually a lot of the ones that have like the highest performance and highest results. So the last one is bankers. Bankers, y'all are like information, like ask a lot, like you ask a ton of questions always. You're always asking questions. You're always trying to like collect as much information as you possibly can before you like make a decision. You know, so you're best like when you have space to like ask questions. For tendencies, that is Rebel. I like that one. So you have the, let's see, obliger is meets outer expectations, not inner expectations. Upholder, I knew that you were going to be that one, Issa, for sure. That means that person meets inner expectations and outer expectations. Rebels, they don't meet outer or inner expectations. I don't even know what this is, Tyler. And then the questioner is, I think, meets inner expectations, but doesn't meet outer expectations. So that's a quick rundown. Some of that might have made sense. Some of that just went over your heads, but I'm going to move on just so you guys have an idea. But you can look that over. And by the way, all those websites, some of that stuff we're going to teach in TLA. So some of it you're going to learn. I'm giving you guys a little sneak peek. And other parts of it is like you can just go on those websites. If something about that interests you or excites you, like go read it. You know, there's tons of more information like that you can pursue and learn. There's a book on almost all one of those. So every single one of those has a book. The 5 love languages, the 4 tendencies. CVI is not a book, but it's like a whole PDF documents that you can download and find online. So question on that? All right, let's go over some, Julian, any other question? Or you just, is something here? All right, let's go over some expectations. So this is where I want you guys to dive in and take a little bit more notes. I want to give you guys just some expectations. You're part of the staff now. I want to give you expectations of how to work well with me, how to work well with Adrian, Jonathan, what it means to be a part of the staff, and just expectations of your position and of your role. First one is TRA. Does anyone know what that stands for? Not Jonathan or Adrian? I don't expect anyone to. Okay, so TRA, first thing to write down, that stands for trust, respect, accountability. TRA, trust, respect, accountability. It's the first thing on that list because it's the most important thing on that list. Trust, respect, accountability. Look, I already said this at the beginning. I don't expect you guys to be perfect. I don't even expect you guys to be good at your jobs. You know, I expect you to make some mistakes along the way. But what I do expect is these three things: trust, respect, accountability. And if you want to know how to work with me, like those three things are really, really important. Number one, are you someone that I trust? Do you trust me? Do we have trust? And by the way, trust is not like it's not binary. It's not yes or no. It's not like you have trust, you don't have trust. Trust is like trust is a meter. Okay. And you could be ever on either side of it. You could be way so far on the side of like, not like, it's not, you can kind of not trust someone, not really not trust them, like not trusting to the point where you like despise that person, right? You can have varying degrees of trusting, like where you would trust like anything with somebody. Just like your customers. It's not just like, hey, I'm with my customer building trust with them. Like, it's not like, all right, cool, I built some trust, check the box. No, like there are growing levels and degrees of that too. Trust at all these three things, by the way, they take a while to build and it's very, very easy to destroy them. You know, so I think like you all are in these roles partially because like y'all can look around. Like a lot of y'all some of y'all have performed at a high level in areas and some of y'all haven't. Some of y'all have done certain things. Like if you're a part of this group, it's because you checked off those boxes, TRA, trust, respect, accountability, at least in our minds. You know, like you guys have seen people that come through and do performance and do different things, but they don't necessarily have those. And some of y'all, it's with me. Some of y'all, it's with Adrian. And guess what? I have TRA with Adrian. You know, so people that Adrian trusts, I trust. People that Adrian has respect for, I have respect for, you know? So like also knowing like, hey, whenever you work with someone else that works with me, like it's the same thing we said after TLA. Everything is an interview. Everything's always an interview. I'm interviewing people for branch all year round by how they show up, you know? When other people have an interaction with other people. Like just so you guys know, I literally hear about everything, always. The shit you guys think that I didn't know about this summer, I found out. Okay, somehow everything always trickles back up to me. I don't even want to know half the stuff, but I always hear about it. You know, so that's the other thing too. Is like, just when you talk to people, when you work with different people on this staff, you know, in your peer group, your leaders, your PSM, whatever it might be, just make sure that I think those are the most important things is trust. Like, are you someone that's trustworthy? You know, I'll tell you guys this is like. And it's not necessarily one of those core components, but loyalty. Y'all don't know this story. I'll share with you guys a quick story here. When I was an assistant manager, I was originally, you guys know I was Jeff's assistant manager originally back in the day. So that was my first summer in management. I was assistant manager in Jeff's office. No, I would usually say most people as assistant manager experience is one of the best experiences of their lives. That was one of the worst experiences of that was one of the worst summers ever in my life. And part of it was like, so I lived in Jupiter. So I lived an hour and 15 minutes away from my office. Not like an hour and 15 minutes in Miami traffic, an hour and 15 minutes going 80 miles an hour on the highway. Like I lived far from the office. And it was another, like I'd never even been to Fort Lauderdale in my life growing up. Like that was like the equivalent of how far it was. It was really far. And I commuted. I probably spent $4,000 in gas that summer. I'm not even making this up. That was back when gas was like $4, like double the price it was now. Didn't have a place to stay. It was like sleeping on people's couches. The office performed. You make a percentage off the office. So if the office is not really performing, it's not as fun. If the office is really performing, it's a lot more fun. Office sucked that summer. I was on a lower percentage, was working a lot of hours. The rest of the staff was super negative. And no one on that staff in that office was really happy. Jeff was like never there, out of town like the whole summer. Didn't even know the guy that much. And here's what I'm getting to with this story, okay, is that, you know, there was a day I remember I literally wanted to quit. And I was like, screw this. I don't even want to do this anymore. And so did all the assistant managers. We all wanted to quit. We all were like, we're done with this, you know, and none of us were having fun. None of us were enjoying it. And we all felt like quitting. But meanwhile, in my mind, like I had like integrity, like loyalty, like that was just like, I was never just going to get up one day and quit. That would never even cross my mind. It was literally like, oh, well, maybe I'll sit down with Ricky, my PSM, have a conversation with him, maybe talk to Jeff and just tell him how I'm feeling, you know, first. And then I'm on my day off. and I'm back up in Jupiter. And I remember getting a call from my PSM, Ricky Ballister at the time. He's like freaking out. And he's like, dude, like, where is everybody? I'm like, what? And then he's like, dude, like, I don't know. I'm at the office right now. There's an interview in like 10 minutes. There's people already showing up for it. And like all this AMs just texted me and just told me they all quit and they're not coming in today. And I was like, what? And like, so I'm sitting there, I'm like pissed off. I'm like, I was like, I wanted to quit too. I'm like, nah, screwed me. And I was like, no, I can't. And they're like, no, I have to show up. Anyways, what I'm getting at is this. This is probably not a great example of talking to you guys about your first assistant manager experience. I'm talking about the worst time ever. But what I'm saying is what I took away from this experience is that, like, okay, in that moment, I exhibited TRA, I exhibited loyalty. And because like that's probably, I would not be where I am today without that moment, without that decision process of me being like, well, I'm not going to leave these guys hanging. Like, I'm going to, like, I can't do that. I'm going to be loyal. Boom, I got a big pay increase. I remember Jeff pulling me aside and being like, hey, like, you know, like this, like your loyalty will not go unnoticed on this one. You know, like I appreciate it. Like, and that was a big like trust building moment between me and Jeff. And like, after that, like he went from not really even knowing who I was in his office to like the guy who was kind of taken underneath of his wing. And that's what really helped my career in a lot of ways. It's what helped me get some of the best spots. That's what helped me get the Miami opening when it came open after Kathy got promoted and went out to Texas. So I'm sharing with you guys that as an example, but trust, respect, accountability, respect, you know, just like, and I'll just tell you guys this, I am close to you all in age-ish. Like I'm still a lot older than y'all, but I'm like closer than any other DVMs you could work with in the company. Like I'm not 40 years old. You know, I'm still like, I love you guys and I'm not like your buddy. Okay. So I just think having like a certain respect level in that I think is important, and respect for your PSMs too. Like they're even closer to y'all in age, you know, your whoever's like your higher ups and stuff like that too, but just have respect for the people around you, have respect for each other, you know, and staff, have respect for yourself. And the last thing is accountability. Like that is one of the most important things to me, is like nothing is more valuable to me than just someone that I can count on. Where like, I don't, it's not about making a mistake or not, but like when someone tells me they're going to do something, I expect them to do it. Okay. If you tell me you're not going to do something, I expect you not to do it, you know, but having accountability where it's like a man's word is his bond, woman's word is his bond, like mean what you say what you mean. And like, hey, if I give you something and you tell me you're going to do it, like I expect you to do it. When you don't, like that makes me, and like, by the way, like there's an opportunity, like good accountability is like, cool. So if we set an agreement, if I have an agreement with Issa and she says she's going to do one thing, and she says she's going to do XYZ by next Friday, and she realizes on Wednesday afternoon, it's probably not going to happen by Friday. Like, this is probably not going to go well, and she's probably not going to happen. Like, I expect to get texted on Wednesday afternoon, and a good accountability conversation would be like, hey, Andrew, I knew you expected this of me, and I knew I told you I was into this, but I don't think it's going to happen, so here's what I'm planning on doing instead. Is that all right? Or hopefully that's okay, whatever. You know, that's an accountability conversation. Versus someone that is bad at accountability would just – I get a text Friday night after I already, I'm usually actually texting that person asking, hey, what happened? Like where we had an agreement, we had a conversation, what's going on? You know, that's an example of like, hey, you're not making my life easier. You're actually making it harder for me to work with you because I have to like track you down for stuff. And it's actually more work for me to reach out to you and follow up than it is for me to just have done it myself, or Adrian or Jonathan or whatever the case might be. So just having TRA. And I spent like 15 minutes on these things, but like these are, in my opinion, like the most important, you know, aspects of being on staff. So questions or comments on that? Cool. The other thing that I have on here, maybe it got taken off. Weird. Did it get taken off?
I got a question real quick.
Yeah.
As far as accountability goes, how many accountability, like, I'm not gonna say I would do this. How many accountability quote unquote chances do you have until you know, like, see ya, you out kind of stuff? I'm sure there's a limit, man. There has to be a limit.
I'm just kidding. No, there's not, I don't have a number in my head. I just think, look, it's just something, it's like accountability is easy. And by the way, here's another example. Like when you're constantly a person at some point, you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. You know, like let me give you an example. Last summer, me and Adrian were working in the office during the summertime, and there was a morning where, look, I'm human too. You know, I missed my alarm. I don't even know what happened, to be honest, this day. Like something happened, my alarm didn't go off, whatever. You know, we're there at the office at like 7:30 that day, 8 a.m. And it was like 10 a.m. Advanced training had already started. I was supposed to be running advanced training. and I wasn't at the office. And like the staff's reaction was not like, oh shit, Andrew's running late again. It was, you know, holy shit, like Andrew's dead. Andrew's dead. Like that's literally what they thought. I can't even make this up. Like I woke up to like 20 million missed phone calls from my the girl I was dating at the time, from Adrian, from Jonathan. Someone was banging on my door in my apartment. Like this is what I woke up to. Like I had my AMs. Naomi was crying in the office because they
Dude,
thought
we literally had conversations about who was gonna take over the office because Andrew was 10 minutes late.
Jonathan's like, all right, you know, I'll run to advanced training. You go drive out to Brickell. We'll go see if he's all right. Like they thought I just like choked in my sleep or something. I don't even know. But I'm getting to this is like, and that's just an example of like, because they have accountability with me and expectations. Like I'm not usually late to stuff. I'm usually on time, usually pretty on point, you know, and that's the type of reputation that you want to develop, right? Like there's certain people that like when you're late or you're missing something, like I actually, like there's certain people in our organization, like if they're late or missing, I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, what happened? Like I remember Jonathan had something that's happened the other day and he missed something and he was like trying to, I'm so sorry to explain. I'm like, dude, I get it. I was actually nervous because I figured if you were missing from that, I figured like just something bad had happened. Like it's all good, dude. You know, and there's other people where it's like, you know, it's just like, oh, here we go again, you know, classic. This person's not at the meeting. They're late again. Everyone else is starting. We're all waiting on them, you know, like we didn't see that one coming. You don't want to be that guy or that girl. You know, you want to be the opposite. You want to be the person that's like, you're late or missing, or you forget to turn an assignment in. I'm like, hey, I don't think I think my email might've messed up. Like, I don't think I got it. Like, did you send it? Like, I'm assuming you did because you always send your assignments on time. Not the, hey, I'm reaching out to you for the 6th time again because like I do every single week because yet again, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Is that kind of, there's not a number, Nick, but that's just a good example. Cool. So just build up a good reputation for yourself with me, other people around you, all that good stuff. By the way, I also talk about you all in my Adrian, like I talked about you guys in my call. I had a 2-hour call with Scott Dennis today. Scott's my boss. You know, he runs the region. He's the one that decides who gets what territories where. And, you know, I talk about a lot of you all, you know, my DMCs, we went through the list. I talked about multiple of you on this call with him today, you know, so like everything's an interview. We'll just leave it at that. Communications, just one thing I think that is required when you're on staff, like, and most of y'all are pretty good at this, but you just have to be on top of communications, specifically WhatsApp. You know, you can't like every once in a while someone on staff and like, they just don't respond to something for like 2 days. And it's like, they're like, oh, sorry, I turn off my WhatsApp notifications. It's like, don't do that. Like you're on staff. Like we're trying to communicate with you, you know, so you just have to be on top of communication. So that you don't need to be on your phone while you're in class. You know, it doesn't mean you have to be like on your, like always available 24/7, but it does mean you need to like check up, like back in the day, this was email. You needed to look at your email, you know, twice a day, at least, like check in on it, make sure it's like, we don't really do emails anymore. Everything's on WhatsApp. You know, but you do kind of need to be up to speed with what's going on. You can't be someone like, that's one thing too, is like you guys think you're in a lot of chats right now. Wait till you get to management. You're in even more chats. And getting good at handling the like just organize the chats, respond to the messages, like knowing how to use WhatsApp good. I think it's just a good skill to have. Like y'all raise your hand if you know what starring a message is. Okay, great. The best part of this, I love using WhatsApp in Miami because everyone already knows how to use it pretty well. In Boca, they have to like in training, they're like, all right, now we're going to download an app called WhatsApp. And we're going to use this for our team communications. So it's like, I've never had to explain to people what WhatsApp is down here. But okay, cool. So just get good and proficient at that. I think that helps as well. Schedule expectations. I'm going to come back to that. Make mistakes, do your best. That's, hey, do your best, you know, that's it. You know, one thing that you can just, I know, and here's the deal. I've worked with a lot of y'all enough to know when you're giving your best and enough to know when you're not. Right. And giving your best, a lot of y'all are in classes in school. And part of giving your best is like, by the way, doing well in school. If you work hard in the office and you don't try at all in school and your classes and you get bad grades, guess what? When your parents see your grades, guess what they're going to say? They're not going to say, you're not trying hard enough in school. They're going to say, hey, work is distracting you too much from your schoolwork. Even if you're like chilling, like you just have so much free time, you're just not doing your schoolwork, your parents are still going to blame it on work is the reason why you're doing poorly in school. So like doing your best, like at the job involves like doing your best at school, doing your best at other things in your life. Doing your best. And again, the other example that I was going to give you guys is that just because you do like giving your best, giving your 100% of something, like nothing makes me more confused when someone's like, well, I really want to do it, but like, I just didn't feel like I gave my 100%. So I'm going to do nothing. Like giving 100% of something, guys, does not mean giving 100% of your time. It just means giving 100% of your energy when you're doing something. That means like, hey, on a Wednesday team meeting, you give 100% while you're there. That's what that giving 100% means. Not giving 100% of your schedule allotments. It just means like when you're here, be here. And when you're elsewhere, be elsewhere. Be present in what it is that you're doing and give your best at what it is that you're doing. Be responsible. We're gonna have a weekly staff meeting every single week. So let me pull this up, by the way, so you guys can, again, I'm just going down the hit list here. So we're gonna have a weekly staff meeting. So this meeting is gonna be the most important meeting that we run on a weekly basis. I think you're raising your hand, Nick. Give me one second, I'll come back to you. Or actually, is it relevant to before we go to the next thing?
Yeah, just a quick little jump back to that. I think Andrew remembers when we were in the Alliance, I had a 8 a.m. Spanish class, and that was the death of me. Or not really, because I ended up getting an A in class, which was great. But the first week of SE2, I was slacking on my job because I was focusing on my class, and Andrew hit me up that week, and he goes, look, I need you to get with it. So I managed my time, I got my shit handled, and got an A in the class, and I did phenomenal in SE2. So as long as you manage your time efficiently, then you shouldn't come into any issues. It's all about time management, personal responsibility, and accountability as well.
Yeah, I remember like back in Greek, when I was in Greek life and in a fraternity, like we used to get the kids grades, because like, hey, they weren't going to become a brother in the fraternity if they failed all their classes, So it's like, hey, like you've got to do, you can't like flop on everything else, or you're not going to be like, you just got to be on top of your stuff. It's easy to explain that. So we're going to have staff meetings every single week. I don't know what time we're going to run these because, well, Alex Gonzalez is getting an MBA, and his classes are from 6 to 9 p.m. on Mondays, and that's like one of the number one reasons why I might not run it on Mondays anymore. But I'm going to find a time that works in everyone's schedules. So those will be TBD. But usually our staff meetings will last an hour to maybe 2 hours if we really need one. Usually I like to do like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half tops. Usually it's 2 hours in the summer, 1 hour in the fall and spring. We usually run one a week. And the purpose of those staff meetings, like I really think y'all will learn quite a bit in those. That's like your lessons, branch manager training. We can go over the highs of the week, the lows of the week, helps us course correct what's going well, what we need to change, what we need to adjust on a weekly basis. So that staff meeting is the most important. I mean, it might even be the most important hour in my week, honestly. And the reason I say that is because this office is like a really vital aspect of the division. As much as I run the division and oversee, the other offices across the coast, like this office is the most important office because when this office is doing really poorly, it's really hard for me to focus my energy into the other offices. So I also want to share with y'all is like, you don't have just an important role in this office, you have an important role in the entire division. Because when this office succeeds, all the other offices succeed. When this office ain't doing well, usually the other offices aren't doing so hot either because Andrew isn't over there. He's trying to fix what's broken in our office, first before he can go out there and impact the other ones. So, but that weekly staff meeting you guys will take a lot from. So I just ask that like, hey, when you're there, you can show up engaged, take a lot of notes, be ready to rock and roll. Then last thing I want to go over is just, let me go over. So that's the first thing. Next thing, breakdown of responsibilities, departments, team setups. So as you guys can see, there's more specifics to come on this. Like I mentioned, I'm going to give you guys specifically like what your role is, what we're looking for, and what that might look like. But in the meantime, I want to go ahead and pull up our management sheet just to give you an idea and a reminder of the roles here one last time. So let me pull this up. Okay, and if you want, this is on the back of your AM application that you filled out. So if you pull up that application.
Quick question. Do you want us in the office at all?
Well, aren't you leaving, Nick, to South Carolina?
I leave in September 11th, so I have this whole month. If you want me there, I can definitely be there.
We're not even in the office right now, so I mean, if you guys want to go to the office, I'm totally open to it, and it's not necessarily required, but we could go to the office and work if it makes it easier. Sometimes it does. Just depends on what we're doing. All right, so I just sent this. Did I send it to the group chat? No, I need to send it one more time. All right, check the group chat in 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. So I'm looking at it right now. So this is kind of how our team will be set up. And I'm showing you guys this visual because I know it's kind of confusing right now. Y'all are in like 20,000 group chats, right? So you're like, I don't even know how many, you're like an alliance team, a CSC team, your general team, the office team. This will be like literally, I don't know, starting in about a week or so. This is the structure that our team will be operating in as we go into this last week. So it's going to be 2 teams in our office, black team, red team, A team, B team. So we have 2 teams in the office, and both of these teams will be broken into 2 mini teams. So, if there's 40 people total on our team, there's going to be 20 people on each of these and 10 in each of the pods. If there's 60 people, it'll be 30, 30, 15, 15, 15, 15. If it's 80, it'll be 40, 40, 20, 20, 20, 20. Now, I'm going to explain some pod management stuff, though. So that's how we usually start divvying it up. That does not mean that's necessarily how it's going to go. This one might have 20 people, and this one might have 8. This one might have 6, and this one might have 24. Okay, and now that's not because we designed it that way, but I'm going to explain how our pod system works yet. And you're going to have a lot of personal autonomy in charge of like, your team is your team. You want to build your team. If you want more people on your team, you're going to be in charge of building your team. If you want, your team to sell more, you'll be in charge of your team sell more. And I'll go over a little bit what that looks like more specifically. But the people that manage your teams, if you're in a recruiting department, so if you're part of the recruiting department, which is one of the most important departments that we have in the office, recruiting is the most important because no one's even on our team until this happens. Like that's people doing the interviews. Like that's like the behind the scenes staff that like. That's the most like in terms of branch manager training, it's good to get good at recruiting because that's like your bread and butter. It doesn't matter if you're the best sales coach in the world. If you don't have good reps on your team, it doesn't really matter that much. But so our recruiters are usually wrapped up doing all of our recruiting department. So I don't have you guys managing a team, but if you're on the sales side of things, so our 2 sales managers will manage these 2 teams. And then every part-time AM will have a little mini team that they can talk to and work with. So again, just the general expectations for the roles. Every single person. Okay, let me pull this back up real quickly. One more time just to make sure I'm hitting it. So there's certain expectations of every single person on staff. Some of those expectations include hitting your personal PR set benchmark. Does everyone know what a PR is? Raise your hand if you don't know what a PR is. Everyone knows? There's no one raised, someone not raising their hand. Nicole, do you know? Okay, all right, cool. All right, so PR stands for personal recruit. For those of you guys that didn't know and didn't raise your hands, personal recruit. And so you can have a PR as like getting a friend on the team. That's when you have a PR. But for a manager, when we set up a PR, that's like you guys all know. Who got scheduled over text for an interview? Did anyone get scheduled over text? Really? All y'all got scheduled over text? Not a phone call? Who got scheduled over a phone call? Like you spoke with a manager.
Mine was a phone call.
Okay, cool.
Mine was
Everyone just raise your hand twice. Which one was it? Anyways, so a PR call is like, yes, it's a manager usually reaching out to someone. It's sometimes it's someone that was recommended already knows. Sometimes they didn't even know they were going to get recommended. They're like, what is this about? Who's calling me? Some of y'all like had a friend hit you up and then they got called. Some of y'all had no heads up and you just got a random call on a Saturday afternoon. You're like, sure, I'm looking for a job. But anyways, that's what a PR call is. It's calling. It's an outbound call to get someone on the phone, connect with them, and schedule them for an interview. So that's what a PR is, for those that just did not know that. Anyways, you'll have a certain amount of PRs that you're supposed to set in the office each week. We have a PR script that we'll teach you. Sell personally. It's $1,000 a week in the summer, $500 a week in the fall and spring. Weekly staff meeting, and then lead the office and communication standards. No matter what your position is, title, role, or percentage that you're being paid, this is the expectations of that. Just come to meetings, leading in terms of culture and communication and standards, and then just, hey, leading the way with sales and PRs. Like, that's just the benchmarks for every single person. So pilot sales manager, that's not any of you guys. I'm just going to skip that one. But that person's overseeing. So, like, here's the deal, guys. Y'all are going to work. Like, sometimes I'm going to be really involved in the staff, and other times, like, I'm going to be on, like, next week I'll be on vacation, or I will be out of town, or I will be, like, doing division events or a division DVM meeting, and, like, I won't really be that available. But, like, the PSM is the one that I'm talking to the most, and that's the person that's, like, overseeing. So, like, a lot of you all are going to get a lot of, like, training, you know, from our pilot sales manager, and they're going to help kind of get you set up and situated as you guys are getting running here. So that's the first role. Second two roles, so there's 3 departments: sales, recruiting, and SMRA department. Okay, so again, and most of you all, literally almost every single one of you all, by the way, put your number one. Like, I think almost every single person that filled out an application put sales manager as a top department. And I think that's just because that's what you guys are most familiar with. But I do have a couple of y'all that I'm going to put in the recruiting department because I think you'd really kick some ass there. But regardless, you have these 2 roles. You have the recruiting department. Recruiting is running interviews. The sales managers are doing things like, again, assisting in, like, anything that's sales related, which is PDI, coaching, phone calls, one-on-one with representatives, PCs, skills checks, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to talk about what all those terms are in a second for those of you guys that some of you all that don't really know what some of that is. Let's see here. And in our SMRA department, does everyone know what an SMRA is? SMRAs are social media recruiting assistants. How many of y'all got a message off of Instagram this summer? And that's how you heard about the job. Cool. You probably got one from one of our SMRAs or something like that. Or maybe it was one of our AMs. But our SMRAs, they call PRs. They do the same thing that our staff does. And they tap into, like, social media and use their networks to kind of help recruit more people to the position. So let's see real quickly here. Coach on that. Adrian, anything else you'd add? Cool. Let's see here. That's mainly all I'm going to go over on this.
Actually, can I ask something or say something really quick?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the expectations, I know it says weekly staff meetings, but I also know that once a month we have a meeting Saturdays. I'm not able to attend those.
Yeah, that's completely separate. So that is TLA. TLA and staff things will be completely separate. So
okay.
But thanks for letting me know. And yeah, message me afterwards about that one.
Gotcha.
But outside of that, let me pull this back up here for expectations. Cool. That's the main things. I'm going to move on here a little bit just because of time wise. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. The other thing I'll go ahead and show you is just, again, and I think I've showed you all this before, but this is just, again, the benchmarks. So these are just basically the positions, the roles, and the pay percentages. The only times AMIs get paid, by the way, is if there's no part-time AM. So usually if you're an AMI, it will be 0 to start, and then you can work your way up into an assistant manager, like an actual paid assistant manager role. But these, so this is, and I know some of you guys understand this, some of y'all don't. The percentage is what percent you get paid off of the office. So as an assistant manager, the way that you get compensated is you get paid off a percentage off the office. Now, I will remind you all, okay, this is why this is one of the best trainings you can get. So everyone is expected to sell still personally. $500 a week is the basic standard in the fall and spring. You know, so like you just need to sell $500. It's really not that much. You know, and again, if you ever had 1 week where you're off, okay. If you have 2 weeks of not meeting the standards though, so basically the PRs or your sales numbers, like every single staff meeting, everyone will post up those results in the past 2 weeks. You know, if you have a week where you don't have those hit, then you'll usually get like a warning 1 week. If you have another week where you don't have them hit, you're just going to get taken off of office pay. And I'll probably leave you on staff for like 1 more week. And if you have like a third week, then I usually probably just take you off staff completely until we can have a conversation about like you meeting the standards that are required to be on staff. You know, but usually we're pretty flexible. I mean, like I said, $500 a week. It's $1,000 a week is the standard for most roles in the summer. 500 in the fall and spring, which means, you know, usually, and here's the other thing too, is I also always get your demo updates. So if you ever like did a lot of demos and really like you're putting in the work and you just had an off week, like that's all right. But when you like did like 2 demos of the week and that's why you didn't sell $500, you know, and then you do the same thing again the next week, it's just like, you probably should be on staff. You know, that's just that. So the best, and here's, I'll just say this too. So this was going to bring me into my next, I'm going to go back to what I was saying here in a second, but, the number one reason why, where is it? Sales performance. Okay. So, you know, that's the 2 things. The number one way that you become a good assistant manager is by leading the way with your personal sales. Like, and this is what I want to tell you guys about. Hey, you can make mistakes. Like you can literally jack up everything else as an assistant manager. Literally mess up everything. You suck at coaching reps. You suck at PDI. You jack up the interviews. You're really not good at most of the stuff you do. If all you're doing is assistant manager, but every single week I can count on Anthony Taylor to hit that sales number and hit that PR number, like you're a good assistant manager in my mind. If you are just consistent and I can count on you to do that every single week, you know, we're going to have a pretty strong fall. Now, by the way, $500 is the standard. Is that the goal? No. Okay. If your goal is only to sell $500 a week, you know, in the fall, again, you probably shouldn't be on staff. You know, I think that's like, I don't know, that's less than $8,000 for the whole semester. And I saw y'all's fall goals and most of them are a lot more than that too. So like $500 is like the standard, but like, and in certain weeks, like you have exam week stuff going on. So that like, it's a week, like, yeah, just try to get the bare minimum, just do like $500. And other weeks, like you should be going for like $2,000. You know, for the week, $3,000 for the week, at least like $1,000, hit the benchmark, hit the newsletter, you know? So I just think it's a lower standard and a lower threshold, not because I want you guys shooting for lower numbers. It's a lower threshold because I'm going to be pretty on top of people on it. Like if people don't hit it, like it's going to be, you're going to hear from me that week, you know? If you didn't hit it again, like you're going to be taken off staff. So it is going to be like a standard that we will hold you to, you know? And it's a low standard, you know, so that like, hey, there's high accountability of like doing the bare minimum. And I want you guys thinking bigger, you know, like if you want to make a lot of money this fall, you can make a lot of money on the staff. You will not make a ton of money just being on staff and not selling, you know, just like you don't make a lot of money, you know, motivating people in the phone jams during the summertime when you're not making your own calls and doing your own appointments. Okay. It's like, great. Helps out a lot. And you're still not impacting your paycheck, you know, very much. So, you know, I think that's one of the things. Here's the other thing that I do with office pay. 100% of your office pay as an assistant manager, unless you're in like a really full-time role or a PSM role, 100% of your office pay is put into withholdings. Now, by the way, if you ever need, like your withholdings accounts, guys, you have access to them at all times. So if you ever need to take money out, you can. But that's just the automatic way that's done. So it's just added to your withholdings every single week. So like if you got bills to pay, like you should like selling, and I do that specifically so that like that money is just being added on top, and like you're using your selling vehicle as an opportunity to like make whatever money or income that you really like need. And the assistant manager pay is like extra on top of everything that's happening too. And that's just going to add to your withholdings. Again, you have access to that. And a lot of you all, like another big perk of being on staff is like a lot of times, like a lot of people are trying to rack up $2, $3, $4, $5 grand in withholdings before the end of the fall. And honestly, if you're doing it right in the staff, like you don't even have to add a lot more money to withholdings because you already got a bunch of money being added to it just from being on staff. which is usually kind of nice to get to the end of December and you have a couple grands in that account waiting for you there too. So that's the selling expectation. Let me pull this back up. Let's see here. And then there's a PR set number. So as an AMI, like guys, so again, let me just walk out through this one more time. AMIs, it's very, I'm going to walk you through what the schedule looks like in a second, but you're not doing a lot of extra stuff outside of like Wednesdays and Sundays. You're just now in a position of leadership in the office. You'll come to our staff meetings. It's really just getting a chance, a taste to see management experience and leadership experience and get a chance to go in there. And you're the first in line for a future paid opportunity. But you're setting 5 PRs, which is like not much. It's like probably takes you an hour to do that. And you might do it before like a Wednesday or a Sunday. So it's not a lot of extra time requirement, but it is a chance to get a taste of doing what everyone else is doing, and you're getting that resume experience, you're getting the leadership experience, getting advancement in TLA. But it's not like a ton of extra on your plate. Some of y'all are AMIs, by the way, like when I talk to you guys, I give you your roles. Some of you guys are in your roles because of your personal sales, we need to see you sell and perform a little bit more, be more consistent before I can give you one of these roles. Some of y'all are AMIs just because your schedule is crazy. And like you put on your schedule, like you just don't have a lot of time. So I'm just trying to like give you a chance to get the resume boosting but like not overwhelming your school schedule and stuff like that too. So, that's part of it. Part-time AMs, y'all are setting, it says 15 here. That's incorrect. It is 10. So part-time AMs just do a little bit more than our AMIs do, but you're compensated nicely for it. So making 0.5% off the office, $500 a week. That's really it. And you manage a pod, which again, managing a pod is not that hard. So this is like probably to set these PRs, probably a couple hours out of the week. You do your normal sales gig, and then you just lead and work with your team, which some of y'all already do that. Like Nick, I'll give you an example. Like y'all know when you're in your alliance teams, that's a good example of managing a pod. When y'all are like communicating and talking to them, it doesn't need to be like that every single day, nor will you probably have that type of level of camaraderie in your pod group chats because a lot of them are brand new sales reps. But that's what you kind of want to be working on building. Like a good pod group chat would have something like that too. Just like some of y'all's alliance chats literally had 0 messages in it all day long and no one posted in it at all for like 2 days. And others I would have notifications on my WhatsApp business account. It's like 200 messages. Like, how? It's like 10 a.m. Like, what, why? But that's good. So yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's always better to have like more communication engagement than less too. So, but that's part of it is just like culture in the group chat and just getting people excited. And then there's actual like, hey, making sure the people on your team, and it's less than 10 people usually. So you're usually talking about like, hey, make sure you're 8 people at the team meeting on Wednesday. Make sure they don't forget. Hey, you got 3 new people on your team. Like, make sure they feel good and they have everything they need. Like, it's just kind of like checking in on them, which you can do on your own time. You can do that early in the morning before your classes. You can do that late at night. You can do that middle of the day. I don't really care. But you just want to talk with the coach or the team. And by the way, I'm giving you all this, but we're going to teach you how to do all this stuff. I'm just trying to lay out the expectations here initially. That's the selling. I feel like we could use. Yeah, any questions on that, Anthony?
A question that I have when it comes to the percentages, I'm a numbers guy, so I'm thinking out loud here. How much is an average like fall sales like for the office?
Fall sales campaign? Yeah, exactly. Good question. Typically, that's a good question. I really think this, like Mike and Bromwood's goal this year is to do 500K in the fall. That would be a really, really good fall. I also think we could do something similar to like a 400, 500K fall. But in all honesty, a 300K fall would be pretty epic. Like I said, we did about, I don't know, we did, this is, by the way, look how many of you all there are on staff. Like we should think about it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like put it this way, guys, just from this group alone, there should be $6,000 in sales on the board every single week. And by the way, if everyone's saying the $500 mark, probably some people are going to go above and beyond $500. I'd have to imagine some people are going to hit $1,000 or $1,500, So that's like 10 to 15 grand a week just by this group. So a lot of it comes down to accountability, but I would say I think we're going to have some big goals, but I'd say like for projection wise, like 200 200 to 300 would be solid in that range too. During the summer, we do like 800 to a million. Is usually it's a lot bigger during the summertime. That's why one of the reasons why it's like, hey, in the fall and spring, that's why I also I try not to overwhelm you guys. Like in the summertime, assistant managers are doing a lot of work in the office. During the fall and spring, that's why I always try to especially if you're not being paid a much higher percentage. Some of y'all like being on staff in the fall is like an extra $1,000, an extra $2,000, for the fall, which is nice. It's a chance to get some experience, and you got an extra $2,000 in your bank account second semester, an extra $1,000 from being on staff. But like, if that was all you made for the fall, it's not that great. You know what I mean? If you don't sell a single dollar all fall and you just decide to stop selling and I'm just going to be a part-time AM, but not really lead by example, like $1,000, $2,000 is not that exciting, So that's also why you want to make sure that like, hey, you're not just like wasting your time doing a bunch of stuff in the name of helping out the office, which is really just taking you away from like selling personally, too. So, but it's usually, does that answer your question, Anthony?
Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks.
Last thing. Hey, all right, I feel like we could use a break. Is that the case? Give me 3 minutes and we'll take a break. Let me just finish off these last few things on this list. And then we'll just wrap up with the last sections here. But this is the meaty part of today. Last few things that I have on here. So here's the 3 categories you can write down. It's sales performance, recruiting, and then managing and coaching. That's like the 3 elements of being an assistant manager: sales, recruiting, and managing or coaching a team. So sales performance, recruiting looks like a couple different things. Setting your PRs, whatever that number is. Some of you all will do this. This is only going to be a couple of you all on this call. I think like 2 of you, but we will teach it today so everyone knows how to do it. But running interviews, and then personal PRs. That's one thing I'll say is like the 2 ways that you are a really good assistant manager is doing 2 things. Again, I said this earlier in our other call. Assistant manager leadership is leadership by example. It is not telling other people what to do. Okay. Again, I said, hey, people don't do what the district manager or the PSM or the division manager says to do. They do what the other assistant managers actually do. I cannot tell you all how incredible it will be to have a staff where every single person is performing at a high level. Like other people will see that and y'all will set the standard and other people will be inspired and they will always try and beat you. And it will set the tone for the office. If the assistant, I can literally, by the way, I can show you every single week of the fall last year. Every single week, even this summer, every single week, our assistant managers sold at a high level was our biggest sales weeks in the office. Every single week where the assistant managers dropped the ball and like multiple people didn't hit the standard for that week, the office usually sucked in sales. I don't know what it is about it, but there's just something about when assistant managers lead the way, other people get inspired and they want to do better and they do better because of it. They see other leadership. It's leadership by example. So, the biggest way that you can lead the team is by, number 1, leading with your own personal sales. Number 2, it's getting your own PRs on the team, getting your own friends on the team. That's just one thing that there'll be some PR contests and prize and stuff like that too on the fall. But that's an expectation if you're on staff. Usually my best reps every single year are the PRs of my assistant managers. Always. I can go back and through the records and through the books, our best summer, the summer where I broke the record. If you took away my 3 assistant managers, we sold like $700,000 that summer. If you took away the people that my 3 assistant managers recommended, we would have sold $100,000. Literally. Okay. Literally everyone came from either Gabe Campo, Eddie De Las Cuevas, you guys know who that is, right? Runs the Clearwater office, and Gabe Torres. Those 3 guys literally had like 10K passers. Almost all of them were recommended by Eddie, Gabe, or Gabe. And Eddie recommended Eric Palacio. Eddie recommended Adrian Arredondo. Eddie recommended a lot of my best people in our organization were people that were recommended to the job by Eddie. Eddie's had over 40 PRs in his career. 40 PRs. His probably PR team has collectively sold like 500 plus grand.
Wasn't Eddie a PR too?
Huh?
Didn't Alex PR Eddie?
So Alex actually recommended Eddie to the job. Alex Gonzalez recommended Eddie to the job. Gabe Campo, 10K faster, recommended. I forget. I'm not even gonna go through this. It's gonna take too long to give you guys the whole chart. But I can literally point, and it wasn't necessarily someone they recommended. A lot of times it's someone that they recommended. You know, like Eddie de las Cuevas recommended. I'm trying to think. Oh no, it was like even Rob Rodriguez. You guys know Rob Rodriguez, Palmetto Bay office. Yeah, Rob one summer built our $1 million summer single-handedly because he recommended some kid named Ivan Franco. And Ivan Franco kind of sucked at the job. He only sold like $2,000. Basically kind of quit after that. But Ivan Franco recommended Juliana LaMendola. Juliana LaMendola sold like $20,000. And she actually ended up recommending Anastasia Perez, who sold $30,000. Anastasia Perez recommended Julia Ortiz, who was a scholarship winner, sold $50,000. Eddie recommended Robert Catala, who sold $30,000, who recommended Amy Rod, who sold $100,000, who recommended, the list goes on and on and on. Okay. And it basically all came because one person recommended someone to the team and everybody else came from someone's recommendation on that chain of people. So like assistant manager PRs are like the way, like when I have summers where like none of the assistant managers have friends that work in our office, well, like it's usually a pretty lame office for the fall. We recruit kids from schools and the campus and stuff like that too, but usually like birds of a feather flock together. The best people are recommended by our assistant managers. Always. Because you guys also know the type of people that we're looking and the type of people that crush the job after you've been doing it for like 3 or 4 months. You know, you're better at finding people. You're better at recruiting people. And your friends do better because they're talking to you, who's already an assistant manager, who's had experience, who has already gone out and been a performer, versus like someone that just started the job a week before they did. And they're like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a cool job. You check it out. They do better and they have more results. And when people kick ass and they do, then your friends go out and sell 10K, 15K, 20K in their first 10 days. Guess what? The people that they recommended are now fired up and excited and want to be a part of the team because their friend just made $3,000 on their first week of the show and working on the job. So that's kind of how it works. But those are the 2 big categories. If I could give you, hey, if you want to be a good assistant manager this fall, yes, get good at PDI. Yes, learn all the things me and Adrian are teach you. But the number one way you're a good assistant manager, leading by example through sales, and then get your own kick-ass PRs in the team. If you did nothing else with that this fall, hell yeah, you're a good assistant manager in my books. And you're going to be a great branch manager because of that too. Tyler, you had a question?
Yeah, that PR competition for like Cancun or whatever, is that still going on or did that already end?
It is now over. But the Cancun contest is still going on for 7, 8 days. If you sell 10K before the 24th, it was like the 3rd to the 24th, you also hit Cancun. Good question. We will have all new PR contests starting for the fall though too. Issa, I'm pretty sure you won a quarter zip. Gotta get you that. It's pretty fire. I just ordered them. All right. Anyways, let's do this. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. 8:26. You don't need to turn your cameras off or anything. I'm just gonna fill up some water. Use the restroom if you need to. Recharge, refresh, whatever, and let's finish off this last little section. Read your notes. See if you have any questions. We're gonna teach when we get back.
All right, he's gone. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Tyler. Bet I get more PRs than you.
I'm leaving, guys. Have a great rest of the meeting.
How are you gonna leave 30 minutes before it ends?
Because I have a demo at 8:30. I didn't think it was gonna be this long, and I need to hit.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Fake.
See ya.
Could you tell Andrew that she doesn't want to be in the AM anymore, so she left?
I was like, just call Andrew. She's like, I don't want to call Andrew. I was like,
just do it. Just text him.
She did. I think she did, but he didn't answer.
Right, it's Andrew. It's fine. Yo, Anthony, you ready to eat some Doritos?
Yeah, you gotta get some Doritos, man.
Yeah, you got your Doritos.
Which ones are your favorites, blue or red?
Purple.
Oh, what?
No.
Purple.
No.
What the hell is purple? What is purple?
They're spicy. They're good.
I hate
No,
spice.
no,
Oh,
no.
by the way, watch
It's
this.
definitely blue. Definitely blue. What are you, a magician or something, Anthony? Get out of here.
All right, we're gonna come on back. Okay, guys, ladies and gents, last few things here on expectations is basically I'm not gonna go over that, but managing your team. So you just coach your team. We've already kind of talked about that too. So let's dive into the rest of the things. Adrian, are you ready to teach the post here in a couple seconds? 10 minutes. I got you. So real quickly, guys, I'm going to walk you all through the kind of general office schedule. Okay. So I'll actually show you, maybe be helpful for them to see. I wonder if it would be helpful for y'all. Probably would be. You guys want to see like the summer schedule, like what was happening in the background behind the scenes of the summer? All right, let me show you that then. I don't know if this is going to be formatted the right way, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and try it. All right, let me show you like a week in like June, just to give you guys an idea here. So there's a lot of stuff happening all at once, and you know, we'll see what I'm talking about. So this is a summer schedule example. So let me add in office. Cool. So this is like the office schedule. Right. So this is like just our general kind of office schedule. We have the meetings each and every single week, AT1, and then, training during those 2 times each and every single week. Then the staff schedule is really just the normal, so really you have the normal sales rep functions. Everyone knows that schedule, I hope, if you're on this call. Sundays and Wednesdays, that stuff. That doesn't change at all. Okay. The only thing that changes is now you're coming in a little bit earlier on Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm not getting you guys specifics on the schedule right now, by the way. I'm just going to give you general outlines because it kind of depends what your schedule, it depends on what role you're in. And also some of you have like different class conflicts and things like that too. So let me show you all. That was Nicole's schedule. So there's a whole SMRA program going in the background. Then you add in Adrian's schedule. Then you add in our office interviews. And Julia and Dom and then Alex's schedule. So yeah, there's a lot going on. This is probably not actually helpful at all now that I'm thinking about it. There's interviews each week. So these are the interview times that are happening in our office. This is during the summer, during the fall. Like there was like 3 a day or so during the summer. During the fall, there's like 12 interviews or so a week. So it looks more like 2 interviews on Monday, 2 interviews on Tuesday, probably 2 interviews on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Friday, and then usually 1 on Saturday or Sunday. Typically there's 1 person running that interview, and then there's a second person that's helping out with like the post after the interview. And we're about to go over that in a second. Post interview is basically like the phone call that you had after your interview, where the person's asking you some questions, deciding if you're a good fit, and then either not giving the job or giving the job, and then setting you up for training and making sure that you are set up the right way there too. So basic schedule, just so you guys have an idea. Wednesday and Sundays are kind of continue as normal. Now our Wednesday schedule is going to change a little bit for the fall, just because we do work with, kids that are in high school, and we don't want to be running meetings till 10 o'clock when kids have school, the next morning. So we're going to be trying to end most meetings by like 9 o'clock, 9:30 latest. Okay. During the school year. So Wednesdays, how that will typically work is Wednesdays, if you're in TLA, which most of the people on this call are, that's 5 to 6 p.m. is a TLA call. There is no divisional kickoffs during the fall and spring. So Andrew's not running any 6 p.m. kickoffs during the summer. It will just be, it's usually going to be 5 to 6 TLA, for those that are in it. But for a sales rep, it's just 6 o'clock. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock. We run the team meeting, half the team meeting at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock starts, everyone hops on. We usually will do some quick kind of recognition. It's mostly just recognition, announcements. Like when we do all that section, we'll do that. Recognition, announcements, contests, anything like that's going on in the office. That will be like the first 15 minutes of it. So from 6 to 6:15, we're usually doing recognition, announcements. 6:15 to 8:30 is a phone jam. People are typically doing a little bit less demos, in the fall and spring than they are during the summer. So they're not usually doing like 20 or 30 demos a week. Some people will, and they'll need more phone jam time. But for most of our team, they're going to book up 7, demos on like a Wednesday night. Is pretty average. So, usually that time frame should be good. They've got 2 hours and like 15 minutes, so from 6:15 to 8:30 p.m. will be a phone jam time. 8:30 p.m. we'll start the team meeting, and that will usually be a 30-minute team meeting just because we already did 15 minutes of recognition, stuff like that too beforehand. That's typically the Wednesday schedule. So that's the only thing that's changing a little bit more. So just shortening that time there. Wednesday is the same thing. Usually people have Wednesday is the same schedule. Doesn't really change things. It's 5 to 6 is the PSP. And then after that is usually the phone jam, and people hop off once they have their demos booked up for the week, so that's, some people will keep jamming until 8 o'clock. Some people are done by like 6:30 if they already got their demos booked up. So that doesn't really change much in the sales template schedule. If you are a AMI, what that probably looks like is if you're an AMI in TLA, and you probably start at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Like maybe you have the TLA from 5 to 6, you probably make like an hour, like of calling PRs with the rest of the team, maybe like 30 extra minutes on a Sunday or something like that too. You really can call PRs if you're an AMI at other times. Like it's just usually easier when you're doing it with the rest of the team, so you can set your 5 whenever. You can set 1 PR a day, like literally make 1 phone call a day if you wanted to, and not like actually have a block, or you can schedule a block. But typically AMIs, I don't even really care when you get your 5 set up, as long as you get your 5 set up. Part-timer AMs, you usually want to get 5 PRs booked up on Wednesdays and 5 PRs booked up on Sundays. And again, it's easier to just kind of block out your time. Like you're already going to make phone calls on that day anyways. So it's just like you do the work rather than like working again on Wednesday, Sunday, and now doing stuff at the office on Monday and Thursday. Like you kind of just work an extra hour on a Sunday, work an extra hour on Wednesday, get your PR set up, for the week. And you do that on Wednesdays and Sundays. So you're probably talking about 3 extra hours, on the schedule, 3 to 4 hours to get your PR set up for the week, to get 10 PR set up. That's about 3 to 4 hours. Some people, you all will do it in 2 hours. Some of y'all will take like 5 because you make phone calls really slowly. So that's just usually you do that before Wednesdays and Sundays. Is usually the easiest thing. And then that's the part-time AM schedule. And then it's just coaching your mini team group chat, which like usually it's good to have maybe some time, like 10 minutes in the morning to maybe send out some messages to the rest of your group chat, just checking on them, see how they're doing for the day. That's really it. And then there's a specific schedule. Like if you're a recruiting manager, you're going to have like, hey, you're going to like if I have XYZ person in charge of running interviews, like you'll know the interviews that you're assigned to. So it'll be the same interviews every week. Like every week I run the Monday 3:15, I run the Monday 6:15 interviews. Like it's just, you have the normal office schedule plus interview schedule. If you're a sales manager or on that side of things, it is normal stuff, taking a lot more phone calls, PDI, like taking more phone calls from the sales team and helping out with that. And you're also probably doing sorry, let me rephrase my thought. Yes, you're taking a lot of phone calls, and then there's like random PCs and skills checks. Does everyone know what a PC is? PC is like a representative one-on-one. It stands for personal consultation. I don't even know why we use that term, but that's just a term we use. So PC is like a one-on-one with a rep. We sit down, there's different types of PC. You could do a scheduled PC. You could do hey, I'm going to do, like when I do one-on-ones with you, those are technically PC. Sometimes the PC is just like, let me, check in with you on the job and see how you're doing. Just giving 30 minutes to be on the calendar. Sometimes there's a specific thing you're going to go over in the PC. So usually our sales managers are doing PCs at the reps as well as skills checks. Everyone knows what a skills check is, right? A lot of y'all got skills checked by Eric. It's like, that's a chance to like see how you're doing with your skills. Quiz you, let you hear it, give you some feedback, help them, coach them. Skills checks are also really, really important because it's what helps take our top representatives and get them better. And it what helps our struggling representatives and raise the floor there too. So that's mainly it. I'm going to go over more schedule stuff later. Anyone else have any questions schedule-wise? Cool. All right. We're going to do a couple different things. So I'm going to have Adrian take over real quickly. And what he's going to do now is, so actually before Adrian takes over, 2 seconds. We've really, I mean, hopefully most of the stuff is a review at this point in time, but we've gone through all of this in the calendar, or in this agenda right now. So hopefully you guys have a better, I mean, I don't know, do you guys feel like you have a better general sense of like the expectations of staff, a little bit of sense of like, you know, what the roles are and schedules and stuff like that too? I have to give you guys your specificities of like, hey, here's what your position is and here's your schedule. Because I have to go over all that with each of you. But in terms of group setting, don't feel better. Looks like everyone feels good except maybe Nicole. Nikki, you feel like you're tripping out. You good?
She's definitely tripping out.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Are we gonna find out our roles tonight or tomorrow? What's your plan?
What's more helpful? What do you guys want? What's helpful?
I kind of want to know tonight. I want to know. Like y'all didn't tell us yesterday.
I'm not gonna make any guarantees.
Today.
If I have time, I don't know what I'll be able to do tonight. I might be able to send it. I'll probably send out audios tomorrow morning, and we can have an exchange throughout the day. Cool. But most of y'all, yeah. But let's put it this way. I mean, most of you guys should feel good. I'm gonna put you in the spot that I think is best based off of like a lot of it. I'm trying to map out your part of it's based off of your availabilities too. You know, I think any of you guys, I think we could train to be good in any role, but I think part of it's also like how much availability you actually have too. So, you know, most of y'all, if you're more available, like if you were more like a 6 to 7, I considered you probably more of like a head staff role or above. If you weren't, I'm probably leaning towards more like a part-time AM. If you are below 15K in sales, you're probably more like a part-time AM or an AMI. And by the way, here's what I'll tell you guys too. Any of the positions that you get, none of them are like final, you know, just because I put you in a role. Like if you really struggle in that role for like, I mean, there's grace. You guys are gonna make mistakes, but like if you're not performing, like I'll put someone else in your position. And also, if you become an AMI and you really want to be on a paid role, guess what? Like wait like 2 or 3 weeks. You know, because here's the deal. Number one, like if you're really performing and you deserve it, like I will make space for you. You know, like I'll make a position for you. You know, I'll push you up there on the line. And usually all it takes is one other person to not be performing and cool, you're the next in line. Boom. You know, so just don't worry about it too much. Like wherever you get, it's not like finalized. It's not like you're there. You don't have another opportunity now until January. You know, things could change in 2 or 3 weeks from now if you really want to. So, and also express to me what you're excited about, what you're not. All right, I'm going to turn things over to Adrian. This is a skill set. So this is the last like 50 minutes today. We're going to just go, we'll end by 9:30. I'm going to teach you basically just 2 things. We're probably not going to have time to go over the PR calling script. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of coaching philosophies, and we're going to teach you guys how to do a post-interview script. This is you all getting way ahead of the rest of TLA, by the way. Most of them aren't going to learn this for like 2 or 3 months. So good looks. We're going to teach you how to do a post-interview. So this is after you've done the interview and the conversation that's afterwards. There's a script for it, by the way, but it is not as simple as just like you guys know this. Everyone reads the same paper, same manual. Different people have different results, okay? It's the same way with everything in management. We'll give you a PR script. There's a script for it. It's word for word. But some people have 80% of the people they talk to show up to the interview. Some people, it's like 10% of the people they talk to show up to the interview. No one shows up to the interview when they speak to them. So there are differences in results. It's not the words, it's the music, it's how you actually go about it. So I'll let things turn over to Adrian, and he's going to teach us the goods here.
All right, cool. All right, so really quickly, guys, all right, cool, it's already pinned. All right, so I'm going to show you guys pretty much walk you through what a post screen is. You guys probably already seen or probably don't remember our post screen, but you guys have all been through one. I'm going to show you guys the general script and just walk you through exactly how I do it. I'm going to be able to button up a specific script that you want to go ahead and use, but for right now, we're just going to use a general one. But let me just go ahead and walk you through first what it is. So again, first you have the interview. It's either going to be ran by myself or in the summertime, it was either Julia or Alyssa Sublet that was running it. So it was like the 30 to 45-minute informational side of the interview. So that's where we go over the job details, everything that you need to know about the actual position. That's where we answer most of the questions. And then after, we have them fill out a final Google form application before the one-on-one interview begins. So it's a phone call, and it's usually 10 to 15 minutes. With we usually try to keep it a little bit lower on the 8 to 10 minute side. Max you want to do is 12. I don't know why I said 15. Max you want to do 12. You never really want to go over 15 unless it's someone like you want on the team. You want to spend some extra time building rapport with. But let me go ahead and show you what the general. Can I be co-host, please?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so this is going to be the general script here. All right, so it's report, how'd you hear about the job, talk about their school major. You want to start off with asking them if they have any questions about the position. You just went over 30 to 45 minutes of full information, so you definitely want to see if they have any questions, which most of the times they will. And it's really important to make sure that you get their questions out. And then from there, it's really just like asking what their overall impression about the actual position is on a scale from 1 to 10. What would they rate their own communication skills and why? And then it's really just asking questions about the actual application, and then a couple questions after, and then setting them up for training. And this is what it takes to set them up for training. But let me go ahead and also share with you guys what it looks on the manager side whenever they fill out the actual application. So this is what we receive. I can show you a couple from really just interviews that we got today. So this is the individual. Oh, this is actually Alyssa Andrews. Why is she number 1 here? That's funny. But yeah, Alyssa Andrews.
Look at her application.
This is a good one. So she puts her number, her high school, what year she graduated, where she's going to college. She didn't put anything for graduation year. This is probably not a good example, but every single one of them, usually check yes. She probably just missed that one. But yes. And then if given the proper training and knowledge, do you feel like you could do this job well? Yes. Do you enjoy working with people? Yes. Do you think you can adapt to low-key, relaxed approach to marketing and advertising? Yes. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? No. Do you consider yourself a positive person? Yes. You probably all remember filling this out after your actual interview. Or maybe you don't because it was a while ago. And then what are 3 things that impress you most about the Vector opportunity and why? They fill it in there. So I'm going to walk you through, guys. That's pretty much just the manager side of what we look at whenever we do a post screen. But I can go ahead and actually role play it with you guys one time. And then I'm going to cover the actual importance and the actual, like the things you really want to nail throughout a post screen. So let's see, who wants to be my my post screen? Nick, I'm probably not going to lean towards you because I know you're going to have some funny comments to throw in there.
What, dude?
All right, Nick, let's do you, and actually do it the right way. Just like don't throw any curveballs in there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send Nick a text message like, "Hey, Nick, giving you a call in the next 3 to 5 minutes for our final one-on-one portion of the interview process." They'll usually respond like, "Perfect," and then give them a call over the phone. I'll say, "Hey, Nick, how's it going? This is Adrian. How are you?"
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. So I do want to go ahead and get started with the last portion.
Adrian, can you do 2 things before you start? Can you post that into the group chat, and can you also share that part of the screen versus this?
Yeah. So I want to hold off on sharing the.
Okay, so you're gonna do it first live without them looking at it. So
yeah, and I also want to hold off on sending them anything because I don't have anything buttoned up. And it's not like what I want them using yet. But I can, ideally I can use that for now for reference. But
fine. Just send them what you want. Just do it for them.
Cool. I'm gonna do it once first, and then I'll be able to send it out after. But we'll just do it without a script here, just because a script will throw me off because it's not the one I use. So, Nick, all right, we'll restart. So, hey Nick, this is Adrian. How are you?
Hey Adrian, it's Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. So I do want to go ahead and get started with the last portion of the interview. But before we do get started, I did want to go ahead and ask, did you have any questions at all for me? Anything that you wanted to go over regarding the training, the pay, the perks, anything at all?
Do you want me to answer this question or just be say no?
Whatever you want.
I was wondering, how do I get paid? Is it direct deposit? Is it through check, through the mail? How does that work?
Great question. So specifically, it's our representatives. They have the flexibility of whether doing it over direct deposit where they can get set up and they'll go directly into their account every Friday. Or they can just get it mailed out by a check and that'll get mailed out to their actual direct address. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great actually.
Okay.
Other
And
than that, no other questions.
you have no other questions?
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. And did that answer your question, by the way?
It did.
Awesome. Okay. So in that case, I see here, Nick, that you're currently, you just graduated back in 2019 over at Westminster, correct?
That is correct.
Got it. And you're currently attending from university. I see that here.
That is correct.
All right, Nick. And well, tell me, what is that you study over at Furman?
My major is communication studies with a focus on social media marketing,
Okay.
and I hope to graduate in 4 years.
Okay. So communications there. Now, what sprung the interest in communications? Is that something that like runs in the family or just something that catches your interest?
S Basically, my parents both work in professional sales. And my mom has a marketing degree. She's always bragged to me how amazing it is. My dad has a communications and psychology degree. Mind games is a really big thing in the professional world. So yeah, that's kind of where it comes from. Family thing.
Gotcha. So you got some sales in the blood, but also they did communications and mom's more of a, what'd you say mom was in? Sales as well?
Mom is in marketing and sales. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then moving forward here, I mean, specifically here on your application, you check that you feel like if given the opportunity, you feel like this experience is something that can definitely benefit your future. Now, why is that specifically, Nick?
Basically because I know that through getting a job in the summer, especially as a college student, it'll look great on my application. But on top of that, if I make a little income on the side, that'll be like really helpful because my college tuition is not cheap whatsoever. So any money helps, to be honest.
Gotcha. So really focused on getting some income, being more self-independent to pay for school. Is also increasing your skill set, adding on to your resume as well.
Right as well.
Perfect. Okay. And then you also checked here that you put, if given the proper training and knowledge, you feel confident in doing well into the position. Now, Nick, what makes you confident in that?
Well, I know how to talk to other people. Like I'm pretty to my to me, I think I'm pretty good at it. I know how to form relationships with almost anybody, talk about anything. I don't know. I just am very well-rounded conversationalist.
Absolutely. So very confident in yourself, very confident in our actual training. You know that once you receive the proper training, you'll be able to execute at a high level.
Definitely 100%.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, here's the deal, Nick. I have ultimately one last question for you. I based most of my decision off the application you submitted, as well as our short conversation. But put it this way, we do have a ton of students applying for the position, as you can probably already imagine with the current job market. And unfortunately, we don't always get the chance to work with everyone. So my question towards that is, what do you feel like separates yourself? Maybe a characteristic that you're very confident with that might separate you from most of the other applicants that we do have applying. And more importantly, why is it that we should hire you onto the team?
All right, so I got a few points to that. For one, I'm probably one of your older applicants. I'm 19. Another factor is I am also going into my second year in college, and I've run through my first rodeo. I know how to manage my time efficiently, how to manage my classes, the whole 9 yards of that. Like I said, I love to talk to people. I can talk to anybody if I want to. I also love motivating. Like motivation is definitely like one of my top priorities, talking to people, getting them going and stuff. I just think all around, like if you didn't choose me, like no offense to you, it would be the wrong decision.
Okay, Nick. All right. So communication is very confident with just being able to hold a conversation. You're very confident as well with time management. Now, give me 1 second. Let me actually review the last question here that you did on your application.
Sure.
Review it. Give it like 10 seconds. Okay, Nick. Well, I've ultimately come to a decision. And like I did say, we do have a ton of students applying for the position. And again, unfortunately, we don't always get the chance to work with everyone. But definitely, I mean, here's the deal. In your case, I definitely feel like you did make some positive impressions. I'm really big on writing down notes whenever I conduct these final one-on-one interviews. And the very first thing that I have written down for you is just simply your confidence. Your confidence not only in your ability to work with others and communicate at a high level, but definitely your confidence in your ability to train well and succeed at the position at a high level. I love what you mentioned in the beginning with looking for an experience that's going to help build you not only on a financial level, but also on an experience and skill set level. And I mean, for those reasons, I mean, specifically, that's what I look for whenever I look for an applicant to add on to my team. Those that are really looking to motivate or are motivated and really looking to increase their skill set, as well as looking to become the best versions of themselves. So with those things said, Nick, I definitely do want to go ahead and give you the position. So congratulations.
Oh man, I knew I'd get it. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. And then now I'm going to set them up for training. All right, pay attention to this part. So Nick, by the way, that was the tough part, right? Let's go into the easy part.
Hey, by the way, this is the most important part. Is actually like, and by the way, with every single thing, I think that I just want you guys to notice on. The most important part of every single phone call is always the scheduling process and how you leave it. Just like the most important part is not getting the customer to agree to the demo, it's making sure the demo actually freaking happens. The most important part about scheduling a PR is not getting them to agree to do an interview, it's making sure they show up to your interview. The most important part of accepting someone for the job is not giving them the job, it is getting them set up for training with the right expectations and making sure they show up. So I just want to preface that.
Adrian did it right because I showed up. So let's just say right there. Just
okay, so now we're gonna schedule. Okay, so Nick, all right, so that was the tough part, right? Let's go into the easy part, just getting you all set up here for training. So let me know, do you have a paper and pen with you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect. So first I'm gonna walk you through the training dates and times. Then I'm gonna give you a couple tips with training, and then give you a small assignment to work on before training starts here. But let's start off with the training dates and times. So go ahead and write this down. Your training is gonna be August 20th and August 21st. Okay, that's this upcoming Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Let me know when you got that down. I don't want to go too quick.
I already got it, man.
Perfect. All right, so Thursday, we're going to go ahead and get started at 11:30 a.m. and we'll finish off at 6:30 p.m.
All right.
And then for Friday, we're going to go from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Got it.
Got that down?
Got it.
Perfect. Okay, so a couple of tips with training. So first and foremost is just arriving on time, and you can write a couple of these down. So arriving on time, try to show up 10 to 15 minutes earlier. That way you can get set up well for training. Now I'm going to be able to send you out the virtual Zoom link on Wednesday specifically, as well as a few reminders. But first tip there. Second tip is just making sure. By the way, Nick, are you more of a note taker on paper, or are you more of a laptop note taker?
Paper, because it makes it more lasting in your brain rather than a computer.
Okay, cool. Just like me. All right. So just make sure you have a notebook and a pen ready to be engaged throughout the entirety of training. And then the last tip is just simply just dressing professionally. Now, Nick, that does not mean you have to come in a full suit and tie. But by the way,
I did.
Do you have a blazer?
I do.
Perfect.
I full suit.
I definitely recommend throwing on a blazer and a button down. You definitely want to make a great impression, especially on the first day of training. Second day, you can keep it a little bit more casual. But let's see here. So last thing that I do want to go ahead and walk you through is going to be simply that small assignment I was talking about. Now, go ahead and write this down. This is what we call the brainstorming list. So you're going to write that down.
Okay. Brainstorming list. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so what that is, give me 1 second, guys. Actually, I should be. Are you guys good? Can you guys hear that in the background?
Good.
Oh, yeah, we can hear it, but it's fine.
All right, so brainstorming. So simply what that is just a list of names that you can write down on a piece of paper. Now, these are going to be names of people that you feel comfortable doing your first initial practice appointments with. For example, Nick, for me, it was my best friend's parents from high school, family and friends, my grandma, my uncle, coworkers from my parents, just really anyone I felt comfortable with.
Do neighbors count?
Neighbors do count. Correct. That'd be a great example. And by the way, these are simply just people you feel comfortable with. Now, you might already have people in mind, but just to give you an idea of how many you want to come with, most of our representatives, they'll come in anywhere from the ballpark of 20 to 30 on that list. Some fall short and they'll get around 10 to 20. And then for our overachievers, those that are usually on the competitive side, they'll come in anywhere from the ballpark of 30 to 50 plus. Now, Nick, by the way, where do you feel confident in getting to on that list by this upcoming Thursday?
How many did I actually hit? I think I hit like 7. So let's go with 75.
75? Yeah. So you would probably fall on the competitive side. Have you ever played sports in the past?
Of course. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions specifically with that, feel free to reach out to me. This is my personal phone number. And I guess we can wrap up with that. Do you have any questions for me specifically before we wrap up here?
How much vector connecting do you actually do?
What do you mean by that?
I'm just messing. No, I'm good.
All right, Nick. Well, congratulations one last time. I'm excited for you to be officially onboarded onto the team, and we'll get you going this upcoming Thursday and Friday.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
No problem. See you then. Bye-bye.
I do remember when I did do this actual interview with you. Adrian specifically tells me, he goes, make sure you wear a suit. I swear that Andrew Evans will notice you. What happens the minute I join that meeting? Andrew Evans calls me. He goes, who are you? What school do you go to? I was like, dude, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, so usually if it is like during the summer and Andrew is running the training, I'll spend more time hyping up Andrew and really building upon the actual training, how engaged they want to be in, how much of a great impression they want to make on that first day. But ideally in the fall, it's going to be more of like hyping up Eddie. And I'll have a specific script planned down. By the way, that was me more going off on a tangent. Just because I've done this for quite a while. But for you, I'm going to be able to make each of you a script. It's going to be really general, and it'll hit all the points and the specific keywords that I like to throw in there. That's going to help really give people confidence and get them into that first day of training. Now, does anyone have any questions specifically about the script or how it works?
Yeah, actually, can I get your script? I want to use yours.
Yeah, so I don't really have a script. That's why I need to get that down.
Okay.
Once you do it quite a while, you kind of get it off the top of your head, and you kind of change into what works better. But I definitely am going to get a script for each of you. And then Tyler, you had one?
Yeah, I was just wondering when we would start. Like, are we starting on Wednesday? Are we starting tomorrow, like doing things, or are we just kind of going through like all the basic info and then we're starting next week?
That's a good question. First we have to see what role everyone's going to be playing in the office, and then once we have an idea on what role, we got to get it. We're not going to just throw it on you. We're gonna make sure we do it pretty slow, right? Like slower, baby steps. And we'll go from there. Andrew, you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, give maybe well, I don't have anything to add, but I'd like you to give maybe a little bit more tips on just mentality and demeanor. So less the verbiage and more like the actual approach that they want to be approaching that with.
Yeah. So specifically just going into the actual post screen and really just like recruiting in general. It's really just always being extremely confident when you go into it, having that word down instead of focusing on the verbiage, just making sure you have the actual confidence going into it. So same thing if you were to run an interview, it's like making sure like whatever you say, even if you botch a word, if you're completely 100% confident, then they're not one going to notice it, and two, it's going to sound better off the bat. Just going it just actually when it comes off and rolls off the tongue. But as far as like biggest tips that I can give with actually doing the post screen, it's just the setup of like letting them know ahead of time that you will be calling them, doing the actual approach. And really the main thing is building rapport and then transitioning. Because I guess what one big point that I forgot to leave out is that it's really important for the applicant to understand that they're earning the position. Right, not that you're just giving it to them, knowing that they'd actually earned the position, as opposed to them just like going through a script, answering questions, and then they got the job. So specifically with like a Nick, for example, if like he was like throwing in a lot of like not, I wouldn't say cocky, but really just like the demeanor of like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. It's really just like prolonging that. Hey, like I said, we do have a lot of applicants that have been applying, and unfortunately, we don't always get the chance to work with everyone. And then just prolonging it, letting them wait a couple seconds, and then telling them why you're going to hire him onto the position. So that's just the general tips. We can go more into detail once I give everyone the scripts, and once you get started onboarding into like the actual post screens on really like the demeanor that you want to have, because from there we'll be able to play it out as you guys do it more and more often.
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
Thing to add is like you're the person on the job, not them. This is the same thing when you're calling a PR. Like, and by the way, like when you're PR calling, we're going to talk about that too. It's like, you're not calling them to offer them the job. You're calling them to invite them to interview with us for the position. You know, when you're the person in power and in control, like this is a big, like, kind of shift that needs to happen for a lot of you all as you get into more of a managerial role, is that as a sales rep, you're used to so oftentimes the way that you learn that initial sales is like, help me. And that's kind of how you're learning how to sell originally. It's kind of like you're selling people and helping you out, which is fine. That's the first kind of level of like basic sales. You know, but it's kind of like the football recruiter mentality of like, hey, like, you know, look, we're one of the best teams. And if you're a stud, if you're a star athlete, if you're someone that has this type of attributes about yourself and you fit into this type of culture, then man, we would love to have you on this team. And we think you'd be a great fit for it. And we could kick some serious ass. And if not, you know, we're going to be fine. And we're going to kick ass without you. You know, so it's like hey, we don't really like, you want to come off as like the person in power, like not like needy. We don't need anybody. You're the person that has a job. They do not have a job. You know, so that's kind of the demeanor without being like, you don't want to be like a dick or sound like pretentious or like be like snarly or like there's just, you want to avoid coming off like that, like pretentious. I would probably use is the right word. But like, you're the person in power. You're in the hot seat. And that doesn't mean like you try to assert your power, but like you just be calm, cool, collected. You got the job. They don't, you know, so ask questions and you know, when you ask questions, ask them confidently. And then the other thing is you want to be like unimpressed, you know, like when you are a sales rep, when you are a representative and you're doing the demos, it's like very, very easy to be, I don't know what the word is. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought, guys. When you're a sales rep, you get excited like over everything. Like you get excited, like just everything's like, yeah, awesome. Like a lot of energy and enthusiasm. That's not how you are when you're recruiting, when you're on the phone with them or when you're like, when you're hiring someone. Like you don't want to get excited by their answers. Like, oh, that's amazing. You know, I'm really glad like you're, you know, like that's not how you are when you're a recruiter. Okay. When you're the person interviewing them for the job, everything's like, cool. Anything else? You know, it's very like unimpressed, you know, not like, wow, that was a really good answer. You know, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're so excited. Like, you know, what else? Like, you know, you don't want to be like that too versus, and it's not as like, it's like rapport building, but you're not rapport building with them. Like you're their buddy, you know, and it's different. And this is really important for you to do when you're a young recruiter. Now you do it on the phone. So they don't actually even know how old you are. But like y'all are like the same age as some of the kids. Some of y'all are going to be younger than the people that you're interviewing and that you're hiring. So it's important to like not like break that like level of respect. And if you like seem like their buddy or their friend, they're going to walk all over you in the interview. So that's other like just kind of demeanor and thoughts. Adrian, anything else you'd add?
No, that was perfect.
Anthony, and then we gotta move on here and wrap this call up.
Yeah, something really quickly. When it comes to the script, a question that I asked myself after, how do you know if someone made it or not? Are you the person that determines that? Do we go back to another person and ask based on what they have if they made it? Like,
that's what I was gonna ask.
Do you have like a gut feeling that they're good and you can have them, or are there going to be people that you're just going to?
We'll go over that a little bit probably later. Let's just come a different conversation. But you make the decision. You're not going to like ask Adrian, should I hire this person? Like if you're doing the post interviews, you'll make the decision.
All right.
And so it's on our shoulders.
Certain things that we look for, certain things that are usually a red flag, certain things that are, you know.
And we'll go over that, like whatever's a red flag.
Yeah. I mean, it's usually it's usually pretty easy to tell.
Right.
Give you guys some background to those up a bit too. To be honest though, like this is why first impression matters. We usually know before you call the person. I would say with 80% of the applicants, you know before you call them if you're gonna hire them or not. 80 to 90%. There's about 10% that will be like, and you interview them and you're like, yeah, definitely not. Or you thought you were gonna hire them and then you're like, nope, not hiring this person. And then there's about 10% that you like call them and you're pretty sure you're not going to hire them. And then you have a couple questions and conversation like, actually, this person's pretty impressive. I'm going to go ahead and hire this person. But I would say with about 80 to 90% before you ever call that person for the post interview, before they even fill out that damn paper, they already know just from the group interview, just from like looking at the person and watching how they interact and then the group interview. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to tell on the virtual, which is why like we still give every single person a call no matter what. Because sometimes like you don't always know. Sometimes someone just has a shitty camera and they're like not well prepped, but they are a very, very great applicant. You know, but not always. So, Adrian, anything else you add? Cool.
No, yeah, I think you know before you go into the call, and then if like you're kind of leaning towards or specific questions that you ask, and
Yeah, you can kind of ask questions to make, you know, firm up that decision if you're unsure. All right. We're gonna move on to the last couple of things, and we'll be done before. I'm probably just gonna end it before 9:30, just for like time-wise purposes. But last few things on our list here, guys, is this. So we taught the post. I'm gonna teach general coaching and PDI philosophy. So this is the last. Give me engagement for 15 minutes. I'm not gonna take 25 minutes. We're gonna skip PR calling. I'm just gonna do 15 minutes. Give you guys some assignments. We'll wrap up with biggest takeaways. 15 minutes on PDI coaching. So most of this you're going to learn in the video assignment that I'm going to give you guys. Again, you're going to get ahead of the rest of TLA very quickly. Watch. So, but one of these things, I'm going to have you guys watch a video of me doing PDI. Everyone knows what PDI is, right? Raise your hand if you have no idea what PDI is. You guys don't. So that's right. PDI is the coaching calls, the calls where you call into the office. Yeah. So that's what maybe you probably don't even know it's called reps. But that's when you call the office all the time. That's PDI. PDI is what we call it from the manager side of like taking the calls. PDI stands for personal daily interaction. Personal daily interaction. Also known as pretty damn important. Okay. The two people that are going to need to become experts at PDI and coaching the team are the sales managers, people in those roles. Okay. But PDI is coaching, personal daily interaction, are pretty damn important. So PDI there's different types of PDI. And what I mean by that is there's different, another way you can call it just coaching. Okay. So PDI or coaching basics. So I'm going to give you guys the different types, and we'll go over general philosophies. Other things that you guys want to probably have in your notes is PCs, personal consultations, right, and skills checks. That's like kind of would fall into the category of coaching or, PDI coaching, that whole entire world of things. It's like basically like the way you can think about it is SMRAs, social media recruiting assistants. That department is how we get people interested in the job and get candidates for it. Recruiting is everything that happens up into someone being interested, or we hear that someone could be a PR and we call them. The recruiting department is everything that happens in between then and to the person getting into training and getting trained and finishing training and completing training. Really, recruiting still kind of continues in their first 10 days. Sales management is as soon as the representative finishes training, managing them through the first 10 days and managing and coaching and developing that person beyond their meetings, team meetings, sales meetings, like all that's the sales management part of it. Okay. All three are really, really important. But the actual sales management of things, where is it going with this too? So a couple of different types of PDI and coaching outside of PCs and skills checks. So PDI in terms of like phone calls, what we promote to representatives is there's 3 times they call into the office. Daily check-in, which can be just a text after you're over 6K in sales. The appointment check-in, calling in from your appointments and your demos, and then calling afterwards for your coaching calls. Okay, an appointment clock in, like when a rep calls from the appointment, it's different than when they call after the appointment for a coaching call. When they call from the appointment, your job as a manager is not to like coach the rep and give them 1,000,001 tips, and coach them on their mentality and ask them how the appointment went. Your job is to just like help them real quickly if they need it and help them close a deal, help them close sales. That's it. That's when they call from the appointment to their customers. You're not trying to spend 10 minutes on the phone coaching the rep while they're sitting there in front of the customer. Y'all all know that because you've all been there before. So that's just like our objective is to help you close a sales deal. After the call is coaching. And the coaching calls, okay, and by the way, all of y'all have experienced this in different capacities, but a coaching call, like for the most part, especially when representatives new, we're not trying to give them a lot of tips. We're not trying to give them tips. It's coaching their mentality, okay? And this is just like a lot of you all now know if they're doing the job long enough, the majority of the job is mental, okay? it's hey, like that's why I'm saying, hey, representatives don't need to hear like on their third demo, like it's their third time doing a presentation. They don't need to hear, oh, bro, well, you need to build more value in your appointments. You see, you should start saying expensive more, do this more, and then like, you know, make sure you show this net. Like they don't need to hear that. They need to hear, hey, read the manual word for word and be confident on your next appointment. Like expect to sell. That's what's going to help them sell, not hearing some fancy tips or things like that. It's actually going to hurt them too. So a lot of your initial coaching calls, it's just like coaching their mentality. You know, when representatives, here's, and by the way, like how many of y'all sold $1,000 your first weekend? Raise your hand if you sold $1,000 your first weekend. All right. And I know there's a couple people that opt off. They probably all sold $1,000 first weekend too. There's only a couple of y'all that didn't. I didn't sell $1,000 my first weekend either. 90% of our manager can. I mean, if I asked that question in TLA, like 90% would raise their hand when they sold $1,000 the first weekend. And the only reason that it is, it's not like if you didn't sell $1,000 your first weekend, you can't be successful. But props to those of you guys that didn't sell it and you're still here. The challenge though is that most people quit if they don't. Okay, most people won't make it to their second or third day on the job if they haven't sold $1,000, right? So just the general philosophies is like when you're coaching reps in the beginning stages of their career, a lot of it is just like how to work with them and coach their mentality. Like when they're on their second demo and they heard they have a no sale. Like usually most people like here's just so you guys know a representative's career. If they have a no sale right out of training, they're like, oh shit. This is kind of hard. Maybe that didn't go as expected. Maybe I'm not good at this. They have a second no sale. They're like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I don't know. Maybe this job isn't for me. You know, they get a third no sale. And usually at that point, they're like, yeah, I suck at this. This is going to be a waste of time. Okay. It's only like, by the way, that can all happen like the first day on the job. Like they finish training on Friday. And like, that's when we get phone calls. Adrian will tell you this. You get phone calls at 11 p.m. at night. Yeah, dude, this job's not for me. It's like, you've done 2 demos. What are you talking about? Yeah, I can't do this. My schedule's too busy, whatever, excuse me. Okay, but that's because most people can't handle that much rejection. Like literally 2 people tell them no, and they're already like, yeah, I suck at this, I quit. You know, so a lot of it is just like when the representatives are first getting started, that's just managing the mentality, challenging the champions. So getting certain people to think big. You know, like Julia Ortiz, Julia sold $10,000 her first day on the job. When she came in on Monday, she thought she was really doing bad at the job. Let me say that again. She sold $10,000 her first day, and she thought she was awful at the job. She thought she was doing really, really bad, which is one of the reasons why she sold a lot, because her perspective and her mentality was like, I need to be selling like way more, and like I am not doing well at the job or performing high level. Eddie kept her in a little bubble. Didn't let her know how well she was doing. He's like, all right, cool. You're already at $6,000 for the day. Let's take it to, how can we take it to a $10,000 day? She's like, all right, let me try to do that. You know, so just like, that's what coaching is. It's challenging the champions, right? And encouraging the discouraged. Challenge the champions, encourage the discouraged, right? And it's like the people that are discouraged and feeling down, like you got to give them some support and encouragement and juice, you know, and pour some confidence into them. Help them just get like their first freaking knife sale, you know, whatever it is that will give them a little bit more confidence. And then they can start selling some of those bigger sets. So just a quick mental thing, just general philosophies. Here's the different types of coaching calls that we'll do at PDI. And I write these down. Okay, every single one's kind of different. The first one that you have is first weekend PDI. That's what I was just talking about. First weekend PDI. Is that funny, Cheka?
What's funny is I was watching Check and he's just mouthing what the fuck, and I texted him. I was like, is that what you just said? I couldn't figure it out.
What's the first time PDI, guys?
Say that one more time.
First weekend.
Thank you, Tyler. Is everyone else paying attention, or should I just end this call?
Yeah, no, I have that written down.
No.
First weekend.
First weekend.
I got places to go, guys. We got to finish this up. First weekend PDI is the first type of PDI. Okay. Second type of PDI so you have your first weekend PDI. That's like the rep just started the job, their first weekend, which is like 0 tips, no tips, no sales coach. Like it's just literally all mental coaching. That's like the only thing it is. Like it's like the conversations are, hey, cool. Who's the next appointment? You know, tell me about the next one. Hey, dude, I get it. Sometimes that sucks. You know, like I'm sure that's probably not the results that you were expecting, Tyler, on your first demo, man. Like, it's all good, dude. Sometimes it happens. You know, yep, dude, tell me who's the next appointment, right? All right, let's get it, like, and like thinking about the next, like, there's mentality coaching, no sales tips. Okay, so that's the first weekend coaching. Then the other two type of calls that we have are called benchmark calls. This is sometimes a phone call, sometimes it is a PC. So it's a 20 to 30-minute Zoom meeting. These happen on, you have Tuesday benchmark calls and Friday benchmark calls. What 2 days? Tuesday PDI?
Tuesday
Friday
and
benchmark
Friday.
PDI. Yep. So again, so you have first weekend PDI, Tuesday PDI, Friday PDI. Tuesday PDI, real quickly, what do you guys think we're doing when we're having phone calls with people on Tuesday? Think about this for a second real quickly. So on Tuesday, what just finished yesterday?
Their first day.
The end of the week.
Advanced.
Which might have been the end of their first weekend, might have been the end of their first 10 days, or just the end of last sales week. So what are we going to talk to them about? One thing is going to be what?
Like how did they think they did, and like his review of the day.
Exactly. Look back at last week. How do you feel about last week? And by the way, it's the way you coach people is like, just ask them what they want. Some people are going to be cool guys this fall, like making $100 a week. Like literally some kids on our team are just going to like, dude, I just want a flexible job. I just want to make like $100 to $200 a week. That's cool with me. You know, great. Those reps, let them do their thing. They don't need to go out and sell 10 grand every week. Other reps, they've got big goals. You know, we want to coach them to their goals. So it's like, hey, last week you sold Nick $1,000. How do you feel about that? Sometimes they'll be like, honestly, I felt really good. Cool. Awesome. How do we make that happen again this week? Some reps will be like, you know, I wish I would have sold a little more. All right, cool. What's going to be different this week? So it's looking back at last week, looking forward to this week. Okay. And then what meeting is coming up that we want to make sure that they're prepared to show up the right way to?
The Wednesday night, the phone gym.
That's basically, you know, what you're doing on Tuesdays. On Fridays, right? What just happened the previous day? Does anyone know?
On Friday, wait, one more time.
What happened on Thursday?
Advanced training?
Advanced training, right?
They got their
paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck. They got their paycheck. So on Friday, they got a paycheck. So similar conversation. Not what you sold. It's like, hey, let's look at your paycheck. You made blank last week. How do you feel about that?
So real quick, so if they sold like $100 last week and you check in with them with the PC.
Well, I was saying making $100 to $200 in income. If they sold only $100, it probably should be selling more.
That's what I meant. They made,
I don't think anyone's gonna be excited about selling $100 a week every single week.
Should we be trying to coach them to sell more to get their paycheck bigger, even if they're like content with making $200?
If they're really content, they let them do what they're content with. But a lot of times people want to be thinking bigger, and sometimes I could be like, hey, dude, I know you're content doing this, and are you cool if I challenge you a little bit? Yeah, bro, I know you keep going for $1,000 a week. You're crushing that. And I think you could do 2,000 if you just did 3 or 4 more demos. Like, what's your schedule like this weekend? You know, like that's kind of a conversation too. You know, the key of management, by the way, guys, is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. Does that make sense to everyone? It's like that's the key to like influence and management. It's like same thing. It's like, what is good sales? You're getting someone to buy, which is what you want them to do, but not because you coerce them into buying, because they genuinely want to buy. That means you're a good salesperson. You sold them. Like they're excited about buying. You know, that's what good management or influence skills is. It's getting someone to do what you wanted them to do, but because they want to do it, which is more so about like, hey, asking questions and figuring out what they want and helping them with what they want. Like that's your job as a good salesperson or a good manager or a good leader. So Fridays, we're looking back at last week. And then what's coming up on Fridays? What meeting is coming up in 2 days?
Staff meeting.
Sunday
phone jam and Sunday PSP meeting, right? So we're confirming for that. Send them up for a big weekend. That's Tuesdays and Fridays. Everyone kind of got a general idea of that? I'm giving you guys a general overview.
Got it.
Okay. First weekend PDI, Tuesday PDI, Friday PDI. And then I'd say the last one is just just normal sales calls, just normal general, like, hey, they call in from a demo, they call in from anything, you're just taking their calls. So let me explain this. These are all functions, first weekend, Tuesday, Friday. I mean, it's like literally like, I'm going to sit down for 2 hours and do Tuesday PDI, call through the team. I'm making calls to them. The other ones, we just get calls all the time from people that are calling in from demos, and we might give them a coaching call or help them close a deal or a sale like that too. So there's closing sales deals, and there's doing the coaching calls outside of that. Generally speaking, you don't really give any tips at all until like someone's after they're out of their fast start. And then you can start coaching some people on more like tips and tricks and things like that too, and improving the results and improving their demos, and such there. That's the basic general types of PDI. And I've given you guys a good idea on like the general philosophies. The last part of PDI is part of coaching is through WhatsApp. Not everything is going to be a live phone call. So you can use Zoom, you can use a phone call, or you can use a text message on WhatsApp. Text messages, or you can send an audio. So one thing you could do is that's why like managing your teams, guys, it requires responsibility, not a lot of time. Does that make sense, everyone? Like it doesn't take, if I'm a pod manager, I don't need to spend hours every day working my pod, but I do need to like check in with my team every day. But it could be literally as simple as waking up, recording a quick audio. What's up, team? Hey, just sending you guys, hey, I'm sending you a quick audio real quickly. Just want to check in for the day, see what you got cooking. Friendly reminder, we got our team meeting tomorrow. I'm fired up for our team. We're already at blank in sales for the week. And I want to just get a quick check-in, like how's your schedule looking like today and tomorrow? How many demos you got set up? And do you need anything? Are you good to go for tomorrow night? Boom, send it out to your whole entire team for message. And then you can just have an exchange. Like then you go to class, do your thing for the day, check it out again at like 2:00, send out some more audio responses. Like that's it. It took you a minute and a half to do that, right? But it does require responsibility. So there's some group chat engagement, one-on-one. Okay, and here's the rule of thumb. All management is always done one-on-one. We do not use group chats to manage people. That's done one-on-one communication. The group chats are for like it's for culture, camaraderie, and fun. Like that's what your pod chat should be. Sales updates, culture, camaraderie, fun. Not like, okay, hey, I want to make sure everyone's good to go for the team meeting tonight, post. And I know sometimes our managers do that, it's just something to do. But like in general speaking, like you don't want to collect stats updates from your people in a group. You want to collect them one-on-one. You don't want to say, hey, give me your phone jam goals tonight. Like you want to message them and get their phone jam goals one-on-one. So you can have a conversation about that too. Sometimes certain things, like if we're just doing it in the middle of a meeting and you want everyone to post up something real quickly, that's fine. But just so you guys have some direction there too. Cool. Any other questions on general and coaching and calling? Yeah, Anthony? I'm giving you guys really general stuff right now. So don't worry, we're going to dive into a little more and you're going to hear like what those conversations sound like, as well as after this meeting, probably before our next staff meeting, I'm going to give you guys access to a Google Drive folder that will literally have like everything. So not only the stuff for your job, but you also be able to see the stuff for everybody else's job. So if you want to learn see the interview script, the post-interview script, the SMRA script, the SMRA interview, everything will be in this folder for you guys. You'll have access to that as well. Anthony?
No, I was going to ask, you mentioned about the sales calls, like when they call you in for the demo. Are we going to be the ones in charge of that? Because I know that people do demos like early throughout the morning and then late at night. How is that?
If you're one of our sales managers, or if you are, here's the rule of thumb. This is how it works. If you're on a sales manager, if you're the PSM, pilot sales manager, or assistant sales manager, you will get added to our PDI phone line, which means anytime a representative calls the office, your phone is ringing too. And you can take any of those calls and help them out too. So that's how our PDI line works. Whenever you guys call that phone line, it rings to like 5 of the managers. So there'll only be 3 people on the PDI line in the fall. Those people will always be taking all the calls. If no one's available, what we tell reps to do is like, hey, you call the PDI line. If they don't answer and it's urgent, you call twice. If you still can't get a hold of someone, you can call your pod captain. So like if you're like a part-time AM, you'll get some calls. You'll have 6 or 7 people that occasion will give you a call when they couldn't get a hold of like someone from the office, basically. So you'll be able to take a couple here and there, which is why it's good for everyone to learn. And you won't be getting a ton of phone calls at all unless you're a sales manager. And if you're a sales manager or assistant sales manager, like your number one job is going to be coaching people on the phone and coaching the team and talking to the team every day. So you will be getting a lot of phone calls. That's like your number one job.
Now, let's say I get the ability to get that job and I'm in school. Am I just going to step out of class to answer a phone call and help them with the sale? Like,
no. Yeah. So if you're in classes, like that's why there's 3 people on the line. So generally speaking, generally, if one person isn't available,
I just sent it over to another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Someone else that is available would take that call. That's usually, again, it doesn't always work out perfect. Sometimes all 3 people are available. Sometimes it happens. No one's available when y'all call in, and that's when they go to one of the podcasters, and that's the person they'll go to for some help and some support. If it's like urgent, they need help closing the deal. But generally speaking, they usually will get a hold of someone from the office, and there'll be someone out of the 3 people that are available.
All right.
Yep.
So
Adrian,
that's why we always have to be ready.
up? Adrian, do you have anything else to add before we wrapped up? You were like, all right, cool. Guys, I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm going to give you guys some quick assignments. We'll do the biggest takeaway and close things off super fast here. So assignments is I'm going to send you guys a PC document. So this is how to do a basic schedule PC. So whenever you're working with your representatives, this is going to be followed up with next staff meeting. But here's the 3 things that you need to do with the people that are on. If you're on a part-time AM, there's 3 things that I do with my pod, which is like representatives need 3 things to be successful. By the way, this is just a good thing for you to know. When a representative's not performing, it's going to be one of these 3 things. All rep needs to do to be successful is they just need to feel good. They need to have people to call, and they need to have a game plan. That's it. Feel good, have people to call, have a game plan. They have those, they'll sell and perform. If they don't have those, they won't sell and perform. Okay, so that's all you're really doing as a pod captain is helping make sure people feel good, make sure people have a game plan, which might be like sitting down with them and helping them with like their schedule sometimes. Some people, by the way, some of y'all like need a lot. Like some people, y'all don't need any extra micromanagement, and you do great. Most people do need micromanagement. Most people, if you don't give them a schedule, they don't do anything. Okay, they don't do appointments unless like they have them in a schedule. So and the next thing is they just need to have people to call. So sometimes helping them with names and numbers, which usually almost every single rep's career, they at one point struggle with names and numbers. You help them and then they get through that, and they don't usually ever have that problem ever again. Some people never have a problem in the first place, but so the assignments that you guys can have, they're all in the document right there. So one of them is going to be doing I'll send it into the group chat, is just reviewing a document I'm going to send to you, which is just a schedule. It's like a schedule PC. It's just a check-in PC. Very basic, how to sit down with the rep for 10 minutes on a phone call. Just make sure that they're, feeling good, have numbers to call, and have a game plan. Okay, that's assignment number 1, is to review that. The only assignment will probably take some time is I'm going to have you guys watch a video before our next staff meeting. This is a video that I took over the winter break, and it's first weekend PBI. So you want to take some notes on this. I'm going to have you guys send me your notes when you're done with them. You can send it to me on email or WhatsApp, whatever's easier. But that's the main assignment, is watch that video, take some notes, and we'll debrief it next week. And then the only other things on this list are you're going to set up a one-on-one call with myself, Adrian, or Jonathan. So we'll reach out to you and let you know who's getting a call with who. Okay, so just these things. PC leader guides, reviews for next staffer, first weekend PDI video, and then a one-on-one call at one point this week. Next staff meeting is either going to be next Sunday or next Monday. I will let you guys know on that too. But I know it's already over 9:30. We won't really run this late for future stuff, especially all my high school students that are out here on these calls. Super fast, like 15 seconds or 20 seconds less. Biggest takeaway from today's call, like biggest thing you learned, and biggest action step coming out of here. Like what's your biggest move going into this week that you need to get done? Biggest takeaway from the call, biggest action step. I'll give you guys 15 seconds. Think about it, figure it out. Nick, you ready? I'm going to call on you first, Nick, and then I'll go to Anthony. Biggest takeaway and biggest action step.
Biggest takeaway, just learning all the shit you gave us tonight. Like literally just writing it all down, getting it in my head. Finally figuring out what PC meant was a big thing. I really wanted to know what that meant. And then the biggest action step, I'm just ready to like start learning efficiently how to run an interview and just doing it. I want to get as many people as I can into this office, 100%.
Let's go. Let's go to Anthony and we'll go to Issa.
Biggest takeaway is finally learning what a PDI is and being able to write down all the different notes and get all the stats and things like that, because it just helps me a lot. Biggest action step is putting all of this like in the assignments, reading, listening to the videos, getting all the different things, and then actually like practicing, going over some things with the people here or whatever. I have some friends that I reach out to, just get as much as I possibly can before the actual thing happens. So I just have a lot more experience. And
Awesome. Issa and then Yandri.
So biggest takeaway is definitely like all the information we learned today and like all the little like shortcuts, what they mean finally. And then like the action is just implementing all the information we've learned so far.
Do we need what do you call it? What do you call when you shorten a word?
Yes, we do need it.
Acronyms.
Do we need an abbreviation document for all the abbreviations?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. I was talking about that with someone today. I was like, "There's like 1,000." I'm like, I should probably just give them a document like, "Hey, here's 100 abbreviations that we have." Andrew and then Christina.
Perfect. So biggest takeaway I would say is more like the interview side, seeing like the interview how it goes. I mean, in the office I would hear it, but I would never pay attention to it that much. So just listening to agent and do it right now. And biggest action step is just finishing up those assignments.
All right, let's go to Christina and let's go to Andrew.
Biggest takeaway was definitely learning the basics of really like what the job like entails, especially with the interviewing part. I really want to learn how to like do that correctly and really good. But my next action is, of course, like doing the assignments and then like implementing everything that I learned along the way.
Let's go to Andrew and we'll go to Nikki.
So the biggest takeaway for me was seeing how to help out the new reps and push them to do greater, and also like how to manage them and like push them to do what we want to do without tell them to do what we want them to do with them wanting to do it. That's what you said. That was like the biggest thing, and an action is implying that and getting it to work and do it well.
Awesome. Nikki and Susan.
So my biggest takeaway was like learning how everything actually runs behind the scene, and then the next action is to obviously implement all of it and do our assignments and learn from that.
Cool. Let's go to Susan and we'll go to Adrian.
My biggest takeaway is what happens behind the scene, of course, like the PDI thing, how in the first weekend is like mental coaching, which is something I already thought about before. And then my action plan is to kind of get ready, trying to learn as much as I can, get those PR set up and things like that. So,
yeah, let's go to Tyler, and then Adrian, you can take some if you want.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is just realizing like the accountability of all the staff members and realizing like everybody has to stick to their roles and has to do their job. Otherwise, the office might fall apart. So yeah, that's big. And then big action step is just going to be to like reread all my notes, probably go over it with a couple people, maybe talk to just a couple people on the staff, just going over a few things. So, review it.
Cool. Adrian, anything else to add, man, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I don't have any takeaways, but
you say you already know this stuff, bro?
Yeah,
you don't have any takeaways? What have you been through this before?
Biggest action step is just to keep running interviews and keep running post screens.
All right, sounds good, ladies.
The NBA.
I will, Adrian, stay on for a couple seconds. Everybody else, I'll see you later. Have an awesome night. I will send the assignments in the group chat. We'll talk to you later. Bye.